All right, this is going to be a challenge today because, truth be told, I would have let Drew do some more Masters talk today. But, you know, there's more important things to discuss.
I'm already holidayed out.
So,
frankly,
you're holidayed out? He hasn't played a game.
Right. That's the whole point. Why don't we let him come up and play 3 games?
Well, I think they're going to let him do that, for the record. I don't think they're going to cancel that because everybody's talking
him
about
out
it.
3 times Friday night.
What has gotten into you?
I'm just
What
mad.
happened to you?
Why would they do it on the Masters the day before the Masters starts?
I mean, it's not their fault that the Masters is happening.
It's not
right
Elias's
now.
fault. Tony Kemp's hitting 0-24.
God. Here's the deal. We're going to talk Jackson Holliday. If Drew can stomach that for a little while, I'll let him get into some Masters talk later in the show. But obviously the topic du jour today is Jackson Holliday.
Well, what are we going to say about it?
Hopefully that he's good.
Yeah, but like today, what are we saying about it?
Well, there are absolutely elements of this that are worth discussing.
Okay, give me 3 of them.
Okay.
And I'll
Hang
just
on.
answer them real
First
quick.
no, we're not going to do it that way. First of all, we need to let everybody know that we are here today. We got a lot to do. We will be talking a lot of Jackson Holliday. Tim Kurkjian will join us in a little bit. Also, Carlos Collazo from Baseball America will check in a little bit later on. We'll figure out a little bit more about what to expect from Jackson Holliday. And, yeah, it is Masters Week. So Bob Harig, SI golf writer, longtime golf reporter, he's got a new book out called Drive, all about the legacy of Tiger Woods. We will talk to him about that and the Masters coming up. So that's all on the way this morning. Today's show brought to you by the Green Turtle. Griffin, what's going on at the Green Turtle this week?
Tomorrow at the Green Turtle, you get a free $10 bet. In fact, every Thursday at the new Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton, you get a free $10 bet to use on whatever you would like. I hear there's some golf tournament this weekend, so maybe Drew will have some suggestions for you. But you can experience the ultimate destination for game day excitement. Great food and live in-person betting. So check out the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton tomorrow and get your free bet. Make some money while enjoying some food and some sports.
You know, you gonna ask me or not?
Well, I already know who you think's going to win, but he didn't get in this year.
What?
You got to come up with a new name.
What?
You
We mean it didn't get in.
He didn't get in. Chi didn't make it.
What?
Nope.
Well, what happened?
I think he might be dead.
What?
Is Chi Rodriguez dead? I'm not even sure.
I don't think he's
No,
dead.
I think he's alive.
Yeah, I don't think
He
he's
is alive.
I don't think he's dead.
He's alive. He's just not eligible anymore for
What
participation.
do you mean he's not eligible?
He didn't win. He never won the Masters.
Well, you can't go and make the.
No.
There's no
You can't
qualifying.
just show up. No. He's alive still, right?
He's
Yes,
alive.
he's still
90? How old is he?
88.
88. Good for him.
88 years old.
Where's he live?
88. in Brooklyn Park. I mean,
No,
what,
where's he live? Where's
what-
Chi Rodriguez live? Does it say?
I don't know. It doesn't say that on Wikipedia.
Okay.
All right, Drew's here. We got to update man of the match. Corbin Burns was dominant yesterday. I wanted it to be Colton Cowser. I was obviously very excited about the start that he got off to, but Corbin Burns went 7 innings and allowed
Might still be a case.
2
I
hit.
don't know.
There's not really.
He might go 24-0.
It's unreal. Like, it's unreal.
He is really good.
The thing yesterday that was most amazing about it,
I wonder how he's going to like Yankee Stadium.
they've got a lot of pitching. I don't know if they need more.
Oh, they're going to get more. Don't worry.
Yeah, you think?
I mean, there's only 3 teams he could go to. The
No, 'cause
Yankees,
there's-
the Rangers, and the
But
Dodgers.
there's always the stunning team that's going to say, this is the year
Like
we
the
want to spend
Padres,
money,
like the
right?
Padres or
Like
something
this is,
stupid, right.
or the Mets decide after 1 year of not spending money, they're like,
Right.
right, let's go back to spending money.
Right.
Or in Boston, they get pissed off about the fact that they keep throwing Cutter Crawford out there, and
Right.
they finally say,
By the way, you know what his real first name is?
what?
Cutter. Just taught you something.
How about that?
Yeah.
I actually probably would have guessed that if I'm being
Oh, would
honest.
you?
I didn't think
Okay.
it was a fake name.
Okay.
Anyway, the moral of the story being Corbin Burns is insane. And yesterday,
Oh, my gosh.
the thing that stood out the most yesterday was what happened the minute he realized the strike zone was about 2 inches lower than it should have been.
Yeah, he just started throwing it there.
He said,
Oh,
okay,
I'm good.
watch what I'm about to
Yeah,
do.
right.
You're going to give me that? Oh, wait. And like the hitters just kept coming up there and getting frustrated, but like that was the call. And Corbin Burns manipulated it brilliantly and ended up just mowing down the Red Sox after the first inning. So, yeah, I was very happy that Colton Cowser had a nice game and lifted the offense early. And at a point, I really wanted it to be Colton Cowser, but inevitably, man of the match, it kind of wasn't all that debatable. The answer is Corbin Burns. It's what it is. He's very good. I'm not sure if you've heard. He's really, really, really good. And I don't know if the Orioles are committed to the idea that he's only going to be around for 1 year. When do you just have him pitch every third day? Like, when do you go to that?
How's your arm feel today? I just pitched yesterday, Skip.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you that.
Yeah.
How's your arm feel today?
I asked a question.
All right.
How's it feeling?
Oh, he is something, man.
It is crazy because it does, as you watch him, you do start to think about, like, how we haven't had this.
Should we give him $45 million?
Oh, I mean, 50. Like, God.
Right.
But no, it's more the, like, you really do start to think about how is it possible that we went this long without this?
Well, I hear you, but a lot of teams in baseball go through seasons and periods of time without an absolute rock star starter.
Do they go 30 years? Not 30, 20,
No, I
24.
don't know. I mean, Bedard was.
Stop.
No, I'm saying
Stop.
at the time, I'm going back
He was
and thinking
a really
about
good pitcher.
thinking about the names of
For a
the
minute,
guys. Now
yes.
he didn't win a Cy Young award.
Bedard and Tillman are the best starters that the Orioles have had in that stretch. They are.
Tillman was.
Yes.
Yikes.
Correct.
Forgot
Someone
about it.
was great.
He was really good, but he wasn't this.
Yeah, he's not Corbin Burns.
He's not
But-
close.
No. I 100% agree with that.
But that was what they had. He was the guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best they've had
Well,
post Messina.
Let's just go through over the last real quick. It'll be fun. 10
Will it be?
Yeah, 10 years. Best pitcher Yankees have had in the last 10 years.
Garrett Cole right
Cole.
now, yeah.
Boston.
In 10 years?
Last 10 years.
I mean, Sale.
Chris Sale, but
yeah.
he was Chris Sale in the October of his career.
I don't know if when he got there, I don't agree with that. Chris Sale, when he got there, was still really good.
I think, didn't Porcello win a Cy Young with them?
That
is that
is,
wrong?
I think that is correct, that Porcello won a Cy Young.
Okay. Tampa Bay.
Snell.
I mean,
Glasnow.
But there's a lot of options
Snell.
in Tampa Bay, right?
Yeah.
Like Archer was really good.
But he
Archer,
didn't win a Cy Young.
if we're just going to base this on who wins the Cy Young.
I think that is sort of the starting point. Like, Cleveland had Bieber. Toronto has had who? Burley.
Well, hang on. No, right now they've got Kevin Gausman, who is brilliant.
I don't know about brilliant, but okay.
By the way, they're also not that far removed from R.A. Dickey winning a Cy Young in Toronto.
Right.
That happened.
Bieber was in Cleveland. Minnesota. I guess Johan Santana.
And wait, didn't Robbie Ray just win a Cy Young too recently in Toronto?
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Minnesota, Santana, White Sox, Burley.
White Sox have had a bunch. They've had a bunch. Giolito was really good. Like the White Sox have had these guys.
Yeah.
There's been
Orioles.
one club that hasn't.
Orioles.
One.
Right.
One team.
Well, the Rockies haven't had anybody great.
Okay, fine. Right. And they can't get
Jimenez,
They
right.
can't get anybody to pitch in
Right.
Colorado. That's your comparison. The comparison is it's the Orioles and the Rockies. That's your list.
Who have the Diamondbacks had in the last 10 years?
I mean, Zach Gallen, you heard of him?
Oh, yeah.
Merrill Kelly.
Yeah.
I don't follow the National League that much.
Oh, no?
Not really.
What are you here for?
Randy Johnson was there, right?
Randy Johnson was. That was a little bit ago.
Okay.
Brandon Webb was still really, really good.
Quiz
at
me,
that
though. I'm
point.
pretty good on those old timers.
Oh, yeah? The
Yeah,
old
I'm
timers,
pretty
you
good
got
on those
something to
guys.
offer?
The Royals haven't had anybody, right? Mark Gubaza.
That's the last Royal starter that you can name is Mark Gubaza.
Steve Busby.
Steve Busby.
19.
Kevin Apier.
He threw 2 no-hitters, Steve Busby.
There you
This is
go.
before you were born.
Thank you. Who threw back
Damn it.
Who threw back-to-back no-hitters?
Vandermeer.
Thank you.
Come on.
We were talking about it yesterday.
Yeah, but Kansas City hasn't had it.
Granky.
No, 'cause they had-
no. Greinke's their last good pitcher.
Greinke, but also who was the cat that passed away?
David Cohn?
No.
You're Donna Ventura, right?
Yeah, your Donna Ventura was
Oh,
an absolute.
He threw
He
Ethan
was
a
very
baseball
good.
once.
Did he really?
He threw
He
Ethan
was
a baseball.
that guy was a rock star.
Yeah,
I
he
mean, that
threw-
guy was incredible.
You know who threw me a baseball once? Dana Eveland.
Oh, nice. Okay.
One of
That's
the
what he
one of
had
the
to
first.
offer to
One of
the
the first.
conversation was a Dana Evelyn memory.
Okay.
Talk about good Orioles
You're the
pitchers.
only human
You know
being
who else
that
gave Ethan a
remembers.
baseball? Trevor Bauer.
Ah, well,
Yeah.
good guy.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Old Trevor.
Things are doing well. I don't know what just happened here because we went from talking about Corbin Burns to just naming old pitchers from other clubs.
Steve Busby.
Somehow, this is what Drew had to
Steve
add for
Carlton.
the conversation. Let's name other. You know who you sound like?
No.
Yeah.
No. Whoa.
That was what he had to offer to the We would bring him in on a Tuesday morning,
Oh.
and he didn't know anything
Oh.
about what was going on in
Oh,
sports.
oh.
So all he wanted to do was tell you about. Let me tell you about
His
you
cousin.
know, or the 1998 Orioles.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Well,
I'll talk to you.
Erickson, Scott
I'll
Erickson.
talk to you about Scott Erickson.
We went to the Pantera concert together.
Right. We would try to talk about.
Sidney Ponzone and I.
We would attempt to talk about baseball.
Right.
Like you would say, let's break down Felix P.A.
Right.
And he would be like,
all of his flaws.
yeah, right. And he would
That
say,
guy stinks.
why don't we talk about Will Clark?
Right.
Why don't we have a Delino DeShields
Right,
conversation?
right.
Because that was what he had to offer. All right, let's get.
All right. So man of the match, Burns.
Yeah, he was dominant, and the Orioles win the opener in Boston. Nice to see
By the way, I disagree with you.
What, you wanted it to be Cowser?
Yeah.
God bless you. Corbin Burns was brilliant. I mean,
So was Colton Cowser.
no, he had a nice game. He ended up striking out a couple of times too. Like he had a nice game, and he was on pace. If he delivers one more time, because he kept coming up with runners on base, like he kept.
Yeah, he could have had a
getting-
7 RBI day.
If that continues to
RBI
happen,
day.
then he's so good that he demands. But Corbin Burns was so freaking good yesterday that it's kind of scary. And the scarier part with Corbin Burns is that like he was getting better as the game went on.
Right.
In the 7th inning,
Oh, he'll have how many complete games will he have this year?
he'll end up with at 5 complete games, I think.
Wow.
I believe that.
That's a lot.
Well, I take that back. If they need him to,
That's a
he'll
lot
end
of
up with
games.
because that's the thing. Yesterday,
Jim Palmer had 219 in his career.
correct. Yesterday, they were ready to put him back out there for an 8th inning.
Right.
I mean,
He'll get in a fight with Hyde before the end of the season.
probably
getting
will,
pulled
yeah,
out of a
right,
game.
Correct. The anti Eric Bedard.
Right.
Who would
right.
fight?
Well,
Who would fight you if you suggested he go
Yeah,
back
in
out?
the 5th inning.
They're
Hey,
like
Skip,
Eric we could probably use what at least go back out there for the 6th.
I'm good.
Nah, I'm all right,
And you
Chief.
see the pop-up thing? Like, he likes cashing pop-ups.
Oh yeah, he was mad that he
Yeah.
got called off.
You're right.
He was 100%
And-
mad that he got called off for
And
a
then
pop-up.
pitching ninja showed, like, in the like over the past couple seasons, like, him, like, calling off guys with the Brewers and, like, him wanting to catch the pop-ups and getting mad that he...
I love it.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Guys call him
But yeah,
off.
so after 7 innings,
Now, he misses the Brewers, right?
no, he would pitch Sunday.
Oh, he's going to pitch Sunday?
Yeah. They don't have a 6th starter. Who would it be?
Oh.
He's going to pitch Sunday.
That's
What?
going to be fun.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely going to be fun.
Right.
Which I
Oh, you know, DL Hall's throwing a perfect game.
yeah,
Friday night.
probably somebody and Joey Ortiz is going to hit 6 home runs.
Right.
Somebody brought up the idea that might have been why they flip-flopped Corbin Burns to have him start on Monday, is to make sure he got to start against the Brewers. And look, man, is it impossible that Corbin walked into a room and was like, "Hey, I'm just looking at how the rotation shapes up and would kind of like to pitch that weekend." But I don't. If they were facing anybody this weekend, I go back to you want more Corbin Burns starts this week or this season and less Cole Irvin starts.
Right.
So I really don't care even if there was that conversation. Move Corbin Burns up in the rotation. Don't wait around and have Cole Irvin make extra starts during the course of the year.
Totally
so
agree with that.
I don't make much of that. Maybe there's an element of truth to it, but even if there was, I wouldn't care. It's the right thing to do. Now,
All right,
obviously,
so let's get to what's matter. What
yes,
matters?
right?
You like Scheffler?
No, Jackson Holliday gets called up, and
Does Elias have egg on his face over this or not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because the only part that mattered to me, look, it was weird, but the only part that mattered was making sure that this wasn't about manipulating service time and that you took advantage of this PPI program. And by doing it within the first 2 weeks, they take advantage of the PPI program, and there is absolutely not a single Orioles fan can possibly think that the decision to not have him here on opening day was about service time manipulation, because they don't get the year of service time out of this. So that matters significantly. This fan base is sick of it. You can't wake up today and still say, but I think this is about service time. Well, they're not getting it. That's over.
This is his first year.
That's over.
It starts.
It's
right.
There's no debate about that any longer.
Right. But do you think that was the reason? And do you think that A, his torrid start, and B, you being a better hitter than Tony Kemp had anything to do with it?
Yeah, I mean, look, man, the Tony Kemp thing was embarrassing. Tony Kemp there was never a roster
the A's
spot.
said you're good.
There was never a roster
You can
spot
go.
warranted for Tony Kemp.
Right.
I am in talking.
By the way, I mean, you know, and I think you're in the same boat as me. Like I'm an Elias advocate. I'm the vice president of the club. I think he's awesome. I just wonder if this isn't one of his. Everybody misses a 3-footer. I wonder if this is one of those where he's like, let me just bring this kid up now and get this over with because what I tried to work out didn't work out.
I get that. In talking to a couple of the baseball people whose opinions I respect, and it'll be interesting when Tim Kurkjian joins us. The sense that I got was if the plan really was to keep him down longer, it didn't make sense that they waited as long as they did to make the decision, right? They hurt themselves in the process. They allowed the fan base to be pissed off about it. If they wanted to keep him down for a long time, then halfway through spring training, you say, we're sending him back over to minor league camp. He's not making the team.
To let him go all the way up to the 11th hour was kind of wonky. I would agree with that.
What I was told by a couple of people late was they really were struggling with what to do exactly. And that
And Tony Kemp became available, and they're like,
well, we can't. You can't miss on that opportunity.
We can't pass on him.
That they really did look at the fact that they were slated to face 5 left-handers in the first week and a half of the season, and said, maybe we wait. Maybe we wait and not throw him out there because we don't know. One of two things is going to happen. Either we think he's going to go out there and struggle against lefties, or we're going to end up not playing him against lefties. And there's a lot of lefties. So
are they playing him Friday night?
At this point, the thing that they tried to do against lefties didn't work, so they might as well let Jackson Holliday go out and struggle against lefties.
Well, I'm talking about it more from I'm talking about it not even from the baseball standpoint. Do they go on the air tonight and say he's playing Friday night?
Oh, you think that
to have 44,000 people there?
They sit him until Friday to make it his debut? Or okay,
he plays today.
Yeah,
he's definitely playing today. Is he playing Friday night against DL Hall? And if he is, wouldn't you tell everyone he is today?
Right, to make sure that everybody knows to come. Well,
if he is,
you don't have a better I take that back. Jorge Mateo would play. Jorge Mateo will be in the lineup on Friday against DL Hall because Jorge Mateo hits lefties. So
I understand that. But if your plan is to play him Friday,
yes, you want to get a big crowd.
Wouldn't you announce it today? If you don't announce it and 34,000 people show up, and he's not in the starting lineup,
yeah, you're gonna have
people are going to be pissed off.
There's going to be an issue, no doubt. There's going to be an issue.
And this is the only one of these you have. You have one home debut, period. You Weeders.
Well,
Gunnar,
in their mind, you might have 2 because they might get 34,000 people to show up Friday and then get 37,000 to show up on Saturday.
But again, you only have one of these to blare the trumpets and say here's the new king. You only have one of them. Make the best of it. Now, maybe it is Saturday, and maybe they announced that today. Hey, he's going to be in the lineup Saturday night. I would think if they're looking to maximize this, they would announce it today, that he's going to be in the lineup. Hyde will say he's going to play today, he's going to be off tomorrow, and he's going to play Friday.
I would add that I think the thing that it bothers some people about this might also be a factor is that Friday night is an Apple game. And while we all snicker at the idea of games being on Apple because we hate it, for them, that's a major network partner for baseball. Like, Apple's paying a lot of money to be involved in baseball. And for Apple to have...
Ding, ding. There's your answer.
Like, for Apple to have the chance to broadcast Jackson Holliday's home debut, it is really fascinating, right? It is genuinely interesting how this works out because... They're going to play Jorge Mateo. They are. They're going to. So now what are you doing to get Jackson Holliday in the lineup? Are you sitting Westberg on Friday? Is that the way?
DH him?
You DH Holliday?
I'm just saying. Like, you got to get him in.
Do you DH Mateo? Like,
oh, my gosh.
I mean,
Jorge, you're going to be the designated hitter. Here's one important part of that word.
You got to hit.
Hitter.
Right. No, I hear you. That's the problem in it. It is interesting. I mean, it's something I didn't think about last night, but it is interesting. I think they will have to say something today.
Right. I mean,
they have to say something.
Right. If they're going to act like the crowds don't matter, and internally, if they're going to act like the crowds don't matter, oh, okay, then don't say anything. But if the crowds matter and you announce it today, I think you're going to have 40,000 people there Friday night.
Yes, 100%.
I haven't looked at the weather, but I think you're going to have a huge crowd there on Friday night.
I absolutely agree
and on the
with
flip
that.
side, if they announced tonight he's not going to play Friday and he's going to play Saturday, all you're now doing is telling the Brewers he's never going to come up. We're only going to play with 24 men tonight or 25 men tonight.
Yeah, more or less, right.
Right. I think they got to just let him play Friday night.
I think so, too. And I would add that this is one thing. The one thing I will tell you is that Mike Elias kind of has not – the track record of Mike Elias is he has not really walked hand in hand with the marketing side and the business side of the Orioles.
Totally agree.
We, of course, remember the people that don't care, but for for the city, the Adley Rutschman thing was an unmitigated disaster. It was one of the dumbest things that you could ever do from a business standpoint as a franchise to decide the night before to have his debut fall on the day of the Preakness, a day where 100,000 people had other plans.
Right.
It's insanity that happened. Now, the people that don't care get, well, I just don't care. Right. Because you've never worked inside the front office of an organization, because you've never had to deal with these types of things. You, on day one, decided to make sure that you would have a smaller potential crowd than you could have had for Adley Rutschman's debut.
Times two.
You decided that in one moment.
Right.
Now, Mike Elias doesn't care. Mike Elias has made it abundantly clear on almost every occasion that's not something he's going to think about.
Right.
I wonder if with new ownership, someone...
Dave doesn't say,
yeah,
hey, I'd like to have 44,000 here.
We need to talk about this.
Right.
You need to, not just uniquely this.
I don't want to get in the way of baseball.
Right. Broadly, we got to work together on these things. We have to have a conversation. It's weird enough that Jackson Holliday is going to make his major league debut on the road in Boston. That's weird enough, and something that, again, if you decide it needs to happen, I'm not telling you have to make all of these decisions entirely based on business. If today you decide Jackson Holliday needs to be playing in Boston in order for this team to have a better chance of winning a World Series, God bless. Go make that decision.
100%.
But work with us moving forward. Get together with Brandon Hyde. Say, is he going to be in the lineup on Friday? And let's make that publicly known. And maybe the answer is, well, I wouldn't be inclined to. But at some point, Jackson Holliday is going to have to play against a left-hander. Like, it's going to have to happen.
Correct.
Right.
That's kind of silly to even suggest that the number one pick isn't going to play every day. He's going to play every day.
More, every day.
Well, 140 games.
100%.
22 games.
Right.
So I do put stock in this stuff because I did this, at one point in another life for a living. You're trying to sell as many tickets as you can sell. I do think you've touched on something that's also important. I do think the Apple thing might matter. And I don't know any of the dynamics of the money and the deal, and I don't know if anybody at Apple has a direct hotline to the Orioles. I have no idea how that works. I don't know if that call comes from Major League Baseball and not Apple. Apple says to Major League Baseball, hey, by the way.
Apple did a 7-year deal for $595 million with Major League Baseball.
Right. So all I'm suggesting or all I'm wondering is how much impetus, how much impact, how much do they really have? I don't think they have a say in anything as it relates to the on-field product. I do think Apple, just like the NFL networks, I do think Apple can say to Major League Baseball, oh, by the way, Mariners, A's, we're not interested in that game. But I'll tell you what game we are interested in, Dodgers, Yankees. We want that game on Friday night.
Correct.
I do think they can do that. And I'm sure it's worked into their deal that they have some sort of...
And I don't know if the schedule was announced beforehand and if the Corbin Burns trade was a factor. Like, maybe we pick up that game in case Corbin Burns is starting against the Brewers that night. Like, I don't know, because I don't know when they announced
but I'm talking now more... I'm now doing it on the opposite side. I'm now coming at it from the standpoint of the Orioles. Does Major League Baseball call Mike Elias today and say, oh, by the way, not sure what your thoughts are about Friday night, but the Apple guys are foaming at the mouth up there in New York.
Right.
They'd really like that kid to play.
Maybe we try to work something out here.
Now, so now the Orioles are on the. Now the Orioles have to be the partner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now they have to be the league partner. Hey, do us a favor. We want that kid to play Friday night. I don't know if that happens, so I am not suggesting that it does, but I do think it's a possibility that it happens. That Apple says, "Oh, that kid's coming up Friday night. We got the game. Is he playing?" And Major League Baseball goes, "I don't know. We'll check." And they call Mike Elias, and Mike says, "I don't know." And Major League Baseball is going to say, "That's not the answer we're looking for."
Right, we're going to need
Apple.
Can we ask again? Right.
Apple needs to know, and
Right.
the reason Apple needs to know is his dad going to be in the stands? We need to mic him up.
Right.
Like there's a lot of moving parts to this, and I am guessing that call gets made today from Major League Baseball to the Orioles or to Elias. Is he playing Friday night? And the answer isn't I don't know.
Yep.
The answer is either he's starting or he isn't starting. And if he isn't starting, they're still going to show the game.
Correct.
But they can go about things a little differently and promote it a little differently, if that's even possible in 48 hours. So that is an interesting component to it.
I just
when you have a partner
that's
shelled out this kind of money who stumbles into, I mean, I don't want to overblow it, but like they've stumbled into a diamond. Like this kid is his first game ever. What if he hits a home run?
But it won't be his first game ever. It'd be his first game ever in Baltimore, yes, correct.
Right. But what if, so I do think it merits some discussion.
I would be surprised even if the game was on Masson that the Orioles would say we're not going to have him play in his first game in Baltimore. I would be
I'm the same way.
I would like to hope that somewhere as they were making the decision, somebody said, "Hey, he's playing on Friday."
And if you brought him up, you're not bringing up a scrub. You're bringing him up because he's the number one kid.
He's ready.
He's going to play.
Correct. By the way, his first game of the season, he had a home run off a lefty, right? Like he's going to play. He's going to have to play again. Maybe he doesn't face every lefty this season, but he's going to have to hit.
That might have been
lefties.
grooved though, like the Derek Jeter thing.
Or the Cal Ripken thing in the 2001 All-Star game. Yeah, where Chan-Ho Park just said, "Hey,
here you go,
I want to be remembered for something, so I'll be the guy that gave up a home run to Cal Ripken in the 2001
You
All-Star
remembered
game." See, name anything else about Chan-Ho Park. Anything else. Anything at all.
I don't. His dad is Mr. Park.
There you go. Well, you don't even know that.
I think so.
You would think, but you don't know that.
I'm pretty sure his dad's Mr. Park.
No clue. All right, today's show is also brought to you by Atman's Deli.
And let me just say this real quick.
Right in the middle of doing a commercial.
Well, but
right in the middle.
But this will add to it.
Will it?
I think so. If that family had a friend whose last name was Ride, they could, and just pretend they're plumbers. It could be Park and Ride Plumbers.
All right, so coming up, the middle of a commercial.
But you got to admit, though,
he had to get that one out. Had to.
It's new material.
Is it? Dude, stop everything you're doing. I got one.
I got new material.
I got one.
You brought up Chan-Ho.
Stop everything you're doing.
You brought up
You were
Chan-Ho
talking about
Park.
grooving pitches. There's been no greater groove pitch in the history of the sport than Chan-Ho. Well, that's not true because what's his face? Who was the Mike Bassick who grooved the pitch to Barry Bonds so that Barry Bonds would hit the record-breaking home run off of him? Hasn't Mike Bassick openly admitted that afterwards? Mike Bassick
Here it comes.
got to be like a radio host.
Yeah,
He's turned into like a media personality
Here it comes.
simply by being the guy that gave up the home run to Barry Bonds.
Right.
Like no one else. Mike Bassick's family is not familiar with his
He was
work.
on the juice, by the way, Bonds.
No?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yep.
I think we might have to say allegedly. I think we might have to say allegedly.
There's some breaking news for you.
Breaking news? That's what you
Right
came
from Glenn Clark Radio.
God, I told Drew he couldn't talk about the Masters for an hour, and he panicked. I said, dude, for an hour, we're going to talk about something else. And he was like, park and ride! Park it!
That was pretty fun.
Park and ride!
It was new material. You said you wanted new material.
I did. I did ask for new material, and I guess technically that's it. New Atman's Deli, now open in Harbor Point, and it's everything you love about Atman's, plus on top of it, they've got a full-service bar. So all of the delicious food that you've known and loved at Atman's for forever, the desserts, the soups, the corned beef piled high, the hand-rolled bagels, it's all there. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Plus, you can hang out, watch the games, enjoy an evening hanging out in the bar at Atman's Deli. AtmansDeli.com to find daily specials. The new Atman's Deli now open in Harbor Point. All right, we continue to talk about the arrival of Jackson Holliday and the Orioles. It's always a pleasure to welcome back into the program, of course, longtime baseball writer.
It is official, by the way. Tony Kemp gone.
Yes, Tony Kemp is gone, and I will always have the memories.
It's a sad day.
He did make that one catch yesterday. He did. It was a nice play in foul territory down the first base line yesterday. We'll forget about it. We'll never remember anything. Within 3 years, somebody will say, "Dude, remember when Tony Kemp was an Oriole?" And I will say, "No, I do not.
Right.
I don't remember anything
Alex
about
Cobb.
it."
Right.
I kind of remember Alex Cobb being an Oriole. They spent a lot of money on him. Joining us now from ESPN, he is the great Tim Kurkjian. Tim, it's Glenn and Drew. It's always great to catch up. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
My pleasure. Pretty big day in Baltimore today, huh?
Yeah, decent.
Yeah, welcome back, by the way. Back to Baltimore.
Yeah. Tim's not far from here.
Well,
Tim's still
But, I mean,
just
he
down
was a
the
Baltimore guy for a while.
road. So sure was.
Well, I've lived most of my life in Maryland, not in Baltimore, but in Maryland. So I know all about what's going on and what a great day it is when you get to call up a kid like that. It's tremendous.
Tim, I guess let's work backwards and then we'll work forwards with Jackson Holliday. The way it all came about, the decision to not have him on the opening day roster, the fan base kind of losing their mind about it, only to turn around and do it. I'm good because to me the PPI date was the only one that really mattered. So, it's weird if the argument is he wanted to avoid all the left-handers they were facing, then okay, that didn't work out either with what they tried to do. So, it certainly wasn't necessary to me, but what do you make of how this all came about to lead to Jackson Holliday being here less than 2 weeks into the season?
Yeah, it's odd. And I said multiple times he should have made the club out of spring training. The Orioles had their reasons. They wanted him to get a few more reps at second base, a few more reps against left-handed pitching, and we know how that went at Norfolk. Just about everything went really well there. But it doesn't matter now. He's up, and he's not going back. So that's the way baseball should look at it. That's the way the Oriole fans should look at it. All right, we missed him for 10 days, and maybe that could help down the line. But the bottom line is, he should have been here to begin with. The fact that he's here now is better than I thought it was. I thought it might even be May the 1st, but just when you see a talent of that kind, you get him to the big leagues as quickly as possible.
Tim, when we were talking about him in spring training, we had somebody on who I asked for kind of an analysis, a current-day comp, and I don't remember who it was, said Francisco Lindor. You see him triumphing that? Could he be bigger than that?
Well, Francisco Lindor is an awfully good player. He's had a difficult start to this season, and he's a switch hitter, and he played on some really good teams in Cleveland. That's decent, except for the switch hitter part.
Sure.
I really like Jackson Holliday, but I have racked my brain to come up with the perfect comp for him, and I'm not sure he's out there. And maybe that's what makes this guy so special is what he brings. And the fact that he can play shortstop and second base already as a 20-year-old, the fact that he went to the minor leagues and I don't believe struck out against a left-handed pitcher in a short time down there, is just another reminder. Really good players make adjustments. They're told you got to get better at this, and then they do. So I'm not sure there's a perfect comp. I'll give you Lindor. If he ends up being Francisco Lindor, that would be really good news for the Orioles, but it's ridiculous to say this on his first day in the big leagues. He's got a chance to be better than Francisco Lindor, and that is really saying something.
It really is bonkers, Tim. Why is that? Is it just because the hit tool is so insane with Jackson Holliday and the way that he understands pitches that, like he really looks like he can be one of the great professional hitters of an era?
Yeah, the hit tool is ridiculously high, and but everything about him, as we've talked about, is just so fluid, so smooth, so athletic. Just watch him run. Just watch him throw. Watch him make a play defensively. That's why the whole package is so impressive. But him at the plate is the most impressive. Now, I'm not suggesting he's going to hit 30 homers this year or anything else, but he can run. I wouldn't be shocked if he went 20-20 as a rookie, which is, again, unbelievably high praise for someone who's 20 years old. But I think it also goes back to who his dad is, where he grew up, what this is all about. I am a huge believer that when you grow up at a major league ballpark and you have the gene pool that he's working with his grandfather and his father, you really can't miss if you put your mind to it. And this kid has worked his way through any sort of issues, very few of them, and I can't wait to watch him play in the big leagues for the first time tonight.
Tim, doesn't this feel you've seen – I mean, obviously you've seen it all in Baltimore. You've seen the great – some of the great teams in the 80s and 90s, and you've seen these awful teams we had. Like, doesn't this feel like we're on another planet? Like, we have all this talent, plus the 4 guys down there in the minors we haven't yet pulled up that we're going to do, that we're going to see at some point, but before the end of the season. It just feels
and Corbin Burns might be the greatest pitcher since is definitely the greatest pitcher since Mike Messina.
Yeah, it feels crazy, doesn't it?
It does, but this is why you went through all the pain during all that losing.
That's right.
So you could get to this point. So you have a Norfolk team that averages almost 11 runs a game for the first 9 games. That was ridiculous. I mean, Mike Elias deserves a lot of credit here for waiting and not trading those kids. Now he's in a position where he could trade. He's not going to anytime soon. He could trade some of those kids and get exactly what he wants, as he did for Corbin Burns. But yeah, this is beautiful what's going on in Baltimore right now. There's no way around that. And the fact that they're giving Jackson Holliday number 7 to wear.
I wanted to talk about that.
I just love it. I love it when they give a single-digit number. They did this to Derek Jeter in New York. Buck Showalter said, no, give him a single digit. And the Yankees didn't have any left other than 2. But this is also Cal Ripken Sr.'s number. I believe this is the first player to wear 7 since Senior. Yeah, I think that speaks to exactly where the Orioles are and what they understand about where they're going.
You can scratch that next question off the list. Tim Kurkjian with us here on GCR. I really did.
Sorry.
But Tim, I think it's important because clearly now with Cal being involved in the organization again, like this is a couple years ago, this might have been really awkward. But like the idea that Cal, and I don't know this, but it's abundantly clear that he had to give his blessing to it, and sort of him giving the blessing to Jackson Holliday specifically is quite powerful as far as a statement about what the expectation is for this young man.
Right. And again, if this were some kid that they weren't sure about, whether it's character or work ethic or talent, then this would have never happened to give them 7. This is just another reminder that they recognize they're going to move so quickly ahead in this organization with the catcher, with the shortstop, and now with this kid. I think that speaks volumes that he's wearing number 7, because I was around for a lot of the Cal Ripken era, every day as the beat guy for the Sun. So I know all about that, and he was a revered figure, the Ripken way, and how to play the game the right way. And the fact that Jackson Holliday is going to wear 7 is really cool.
Tim, is
He's
Holliday
just as good with a glove as the blade was.
That'd be nice.
Right?
Yeah, right. Holliday, you mentioned. Go ahead.
No, I'm not sure we're going to Mark Belanger. Let's be careful with that. That's one of the great defensive shortstops of all time. Another guy I covered and grew up watching.
I would settle for him hitting a little bit more than Mark Belanger
that's for sure.
and being just slightly less defensively. Is Holliday at second and Gunnar at short the right decision for how to do this for now? Is it the long term what makes sense most defensively for this team?
Yeah, I think this is the best way to go now. But the really good teams look at this and make sure that Gunnar's still a shortstop as opposed to being better at third or better at second, and Holliday can handle second base as opposed to his more natural position shortstop. They're going to have to mix and match here and just make sure this is all going to work. But let's not forget, Manny Machado was a shortstop, a good one, and they put him at third base, and now he's one of the greatest defensive third baseman I've ever seen. The great ones can handle this stuff. But if you can build with Rutschman behind the plate, double play combo, and Cedric Mullins for the moment in center field, yes, I would keep them at shortstop and second base in this alignment for as long as possible. But if something goes wrong or something's not working, you make an adjustment, and great athletes can make those adjustments.
You mentioned earlier the trade thing. Obviously Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins, they're off to slow starts. I am not in the camp that's going to overreact and say it's time to do something drastic now. You're 10 games into a baseball season. That's crazy. But it does still feel like at some point they have to make decisions between, of everyone else, who's definitively part of this and who is ammo for going out and landing maybe another pitcher, another back-end guy, if that's what they need, by the time they get to July. Is July the time that decision has to be made? Do you have to start making decisions like that? As you mentioned, everybody in Norfolk's ripping the cover off the ball. It seems like it's almost kind of laughable that some of those guys continue to be there. When do you start making those decisions about who's really a part of this for the next 5 years and who's ammunition for a trade?
Right. Well, you can start making those decisions now, but the Orioles have been very patient about waiting and waiting. And the time will come where Heston Kjerstad, they're just going to say, he's got to be in the big leagues. The third baseman's got to come to the big leagues. I mean, at some point, you can only tear it up for so long before you deserve to be promoted. But if you still have major leaguers, Austin Hayes is going to start to hit, and so are some other guys, then you've got this great problem to have. And then you can move a couple guys maybe and get more of what you need, bullpen help, whatever. So I think you could start looking at things now, because that's what championship caliber teams do. They don't think about where are we going to be in August. They think about where are we going to be in May. I don't anticipate anything happening before then, big before then, but sure, you got to look at everything given the amount of talent you have in the organization.
These are what we like to call good problems to have. These are, this is a long way away from whether Freddie Bynum or, Fahey should be playing shortstop on a day-to-day basis.
Jake Gibbons wandering around in right field.
What a world. By the way, Bill Ripken apparently is on MLB Network right now saying that Matt Holliday reached out to him and Cal about the idea of Jackson wearing number 7. So kind of a neat story about how that all came together so that Jackson Holliday will be wearing that number.
Cool.
Tim Kurkjian, it's a heck of a time, right? Like what a time to be an Orioles fan. What a time this is. Is there any chance that like the capper on this is somehow some way that they give Corbin Burns 6 years, $300 million next week in order to, is there any way that's the next thing in the line here?
Well, if he keeps throwing like this, at some point if they plan on being really good for the next 5 to 10 years, as we keep talking about, they're going to need a number 1 starting pitcher, and that guy is really, really good. Now, do I think $300 million deal is coming his way from the Orioles anytime soon? No, I don't, but sure, you can lock up an ace long term to go with all these young guys. That's got to be on the back burner somewhere.
I would at least be thinking about it. Tim Kurkjian, anything that we can plug for you, my friends?
Yeah, I have a podcast with my son now. It's called Is This a Great Game or What? It runs every Tuesday. We've done 3 podcasts. It's a father-son baseball podcast. My son Jeff is 30. He knows everything about all sorts of things, pop culture, music. And I'm trying to teach him baseball, and he's trying to teach me everything else because I don't know anything else. So we have really had a great time doing this podcast, and hopefully we're going to do it every Tuesday for the season, see where we go. We've had some great guests, and next week we have Jerry Hairston Jr., former Oriole, talking about Jackie Robinson, which Jerry's got some great stories about his family, Jackie Robinson. So that's our big interview for next Tuesday, former Oriole Jerry Hairston talking about the great Jackie Robinson.
I actually interacted with Jeff a few times when he was interning at 106.7 The Fan down in D.C. a few years back. So good kid, and awesome to see all the success that he has found in his own career. Tim Kurkjian, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for spending some time with us this morning. Let's chat again real soon, all right?
Okay, fellas, see you.
It's Tim Kurkjian with us here on GCR as we get ready for the debut of Jackson Holliday here in Baltimore. Yeah.
$50 million is not going to do it.
Well, for $50 million per year
60,
for how long?
62
$60
million.
per year.
62
That's what it's going to take to lock down Corbin Burns.
For the Dodgers, I mean.
For the Dodgers.
Whatever the Orioles offer, we'll just give you $10 million
Correct.
more.
We'll just keep going.
Just tell us how much it is.
Like, I'm not sure if you're aware. We gave $70 million per year, although not for another 10 years or whatever it's going to be until he gets it. All right. By the way, that is the story, apparently, is that Matt Holliday broached the subject of Jackson wearing number 7 with the Ripken family.
Nice.
And they gave their blessing, and so Jackson Holliday will wear number 7, becoming the first Oriole to don number 7 since they didn't retire it, but they kind of took it out of.
Have we ever had a good number 7 with the football team?
I mean, the greatest.
No. Didn't he
True.
wear 8 at one point?
He did.
And 7?
But did you not see he threw the ball between the goalposts from his knees?
Who have
Billy Cundiff wore it too, right?
Billy Cundiff wore 7.
God, what?
Who else has worn 7?
Hang on.
KB.
Bateman.
They're going to do the 5th year on him?
I don't. They should, because the amount of money that these wide receivers are getting is
insane,
bat ass.
Right.
And so you're not doing better than that for that amount of money.
Right.
Like, that's just the reality anymore.
Yeah. What's his 5th year?
What?
I was
Pull
gonna
up
say,
with the number.
12?
That sounds right.
12
million? Somewhere around 12 or
Yeah,
13.
something in that neighborhood.
He ain't worth half that. But then the next guy you got to give 22 to.
Other Ravens who have worn number 7 include Trace McSorley.
Chris Redman wore 7.
Chris Redman, the late Ryan Mallett.
Oh, we can't say anything about him. Okay.
Sad.
Yeah,
he passed
that's
away.
what I'm saying. We can't say anything about. So all those guys. So yeah, 7. Hey Jackson, you might want to go with number 6.
Well, he's not playing for the Ravens.
Mount Castle's already got.
What are you doing? He's not playing for.
I'm just saying.
All right. County Sports Zone is the place to turn for all of the latest when it comes to spring sports at the high school level. You get your scores, schedules, rankings. You can play pick'em for boys and girls lacrosse, baseball, and softball all right now. CountySports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Hey, how's things going for Calvert Hall Golf?
Very well. 3-0.
Ooh.
Match tomorrow, but not looking so good weather-wise. And but off to a good start.
Love
3-0. We haven't played in a week because we were away for spring break.
All right. Well, I love the sounds of it. It's a great start.
So far, so good.
Somehow overcoming the coach.
That's correct.
Really remarkable.
So far, so good.
Way to go, Cardinals.
Yep.
Carlos Collazo from base. Yes.
$14 million is the 5th
$14 million for Rashad Bateman. I get it. I get it. I get why.
He isn't worth half of that, but you might as well give it to him.
Yeah, for the production that you've gotten, he sure wouldn't be worth that. But
who's the other guy? They got another 5th year guy that.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
no
make a
thanks.
decision about.
$13 million.
That's a pass.
I understand what you're saying. I get it, but I don't know what the Patrick Queen decision. It's funny because Patrick Queen, you would say, was a better player than these two guys were, but it was easier to make because they knew they spent the money on Roquan Smith. That's what they're doing. They haven't spent money at edge rush. They haven't spent money at wide receiver. If you're using that $14 million to say we'd rather, Stephon Diggs is a free agent again after next year. And if you're hell-bent that we're going to pay whatever the money is to get Stephon Diggs to come be a Baltimore Raven, by all means, go do that. But short of that, what are you spending that money on? That's better. I just, man, it's a complicated conversation.
Well, we don't have any, not that Clowney was a game changer, but now, we don't even have him now. Like,
yes.
What are we going to do to go get the quarterback?
Like, somebody's got to play.
We're going to draft one?
Our
history of drafting those guys has not been all that great.
Not ideal. Not ideal. You say that. They had a stretch there where they were drafting them for everyone else, where they were drafting Zadarius Smith, and it worked out great for the next team that Zadarius Smith played for.
Okay.
They found Matt Judon, and it worked out. Actually, that one worked out pretty well for the Ravens before it worked out even better for the Patriots. Carlos Collazo, Baseball America. We'll talk a little bit more about Jackson Holliday. I'm also going to tell you, and Drew, I need your help on this. We're going to do a Masters pool. We're going to do it, and we're going to do it to benefit the Keybridge Fund. So I'll tell you about that. A couple of people are already in. I need 20 folks total to do this. $200 to the winner, $200 to the Keybridge Fund. We'll talk about that next. Drew's here, Glenn Clark Radio.
Craving that classic New York deli experience? Look no further than the new Atman's Deli in Baltimore's Harbor Point. Corned beef piled high, hand-rolled bagels, and something different. A bar! Atman's has food and drink specials every day. Now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in, grab takeout, or hang out at the bar for the next O's game. Atman's Deli, an authentic taste of Baltimore tradition since 1915. Find us at Harbor Point or visit atmansdeli.com.
What company makes your home more energy efficient, purifies your air, kills all viruses, and qualifies you for $6,000 in rebates? A.J. Michaels Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis at ajmichaels.com.
Whether you're celebrating a special milestone, entertaining clients, or simply enjoying a night out, count on Ruth's Chris to deliver you the finest steaks, the best service, and a level of hospitality that has made Ruth's Chris one of the most revered names in steaks since 1965. Make your reservation now at ruthschris.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Discover one of Baltimore's hidden gems at Guilford Hall Brewery. Enjoy dinner in our spacious brew pub, sip a signature cocktail in our outdoor, dog-friendly beer garden, or take a tour of our brewery. Discover your new favorite local craft beer. From crisp lagers to hoppy ales, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pair your brew with delicious appetizers and entrees. There are options for the whole family, but you have to try our fan-favorite giant pretzel. Guilford Hall Brewery, where every sip is a celebration. Visit us online at guilfordhall.com.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now, and on the cover we look at the promise of spring for the Baltimore Orioles as Todd Karpovich and others shine the light on the team's hopes to take the next step towards championship contention and what reinforcements could still be coming. Plus, Pressbox personalities offer suggestions to David Rubenstein about stewarding the franchise. Also inside, Bo Smolka on how the Ravens defense could evolve with new coordinator Zach Orr. And we meet lacrosse players from the men's and women's programs across the state. Pressbox is available for free at over 500 area locations, including 60 Royal Farm stores. And you can always find the entire edition as well as the best daily coverage of the O's, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR. Hey, the best place to watch all of the big events is Sports and Social this Saturday night, UFC
like
300. Yes, even like the Masters. I mean that.
I know you're not saying it on purpose to aggravate me, but it's good.
Even the Masters. And UFC 300 Saturday night.
They've had
inside.
300 of those?
It's crazy, right? Wow. Yeah, it's nuts.
It's Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. You can reserve your spot right now if you want a table for either Saturday night, UFC 300, or Sunday for the final round of the Masters. You can reserve your spot right now by going to the Live Casino and Hotel website. Click on the tab for Sports and Social. If you want one of those great blue reclining chairs to lounge out and watch, then you actually have to show up in person. So I would get there very early, or I would stop by, say, today, and go up to the desk at the FanDuel Sportsbook, and you can reserve a lounge chair for that or any event. They'll be showing the Mike Tyson, Jake Paul thing, whatever that is. Even when I advertise, I can't pretend like it's real. I can't do it. Sorry, I'm not capable. If that costs us our sponsorship, so be it. I can't call it a fight. They will be wearing You know what? That part you're right about. Yeah. They will be wearing boxing gloves. Whatever it is that they're doing, they will be doing it in boxing gloves.
You don't like UFC?
No, not the UFC. I don't anymore. I'm out on the UFC.
It's wrong, yeah.
No. They did that to themselves. It's a dog and pony show now. Like they let CM Punk fight. They let
good.
Okay.
You know,
I get that.
It became carnival barking. So they stopped. It was no longer a meritocracy. It was no longer it was just
entertainment.
Yeah, correct. I mean, that's what the UFC became, and that was that's their choice. And by the way, I think they're doing quite well without me.
Right.
I don't think they've needed me in order to.
Is
get
that the
going.
Dana White guy?
Yeah,
that's the
he's
owner.
He's doing fine. He's doing quite all right.
How about Dave Portnoy winning $2 million?
Yeah, but I think that guy also loses a lot of money betting too.
Maybe,
I think he's,
but I know he
right,
bet 600 and he won $2 million.
No, I hear you, but I think that there's a lot of things that he bets a lot of money on, and it's
Probably.
it kind of all comes out in the wash more or less with that guy. Also, I don't think the $2 million really even impacts him all that much.
I don't either. I mean, obviously, if you bet $600,000,
yeah,
you don't care if you win or lose.
Correct, exactly right.
$2
but yeah,
million's a nice haul, though.
I'll take it.
I'd like to win $660 on this Masters here.
All right, so you can win $200.
Okay.
Here's what we're gonna do. It's the exact same way that we did this a year ago. I need 20 of you, and I think we're already a quarter of the way there, but I'm going to need your help plugging this during the day in order to make sure that we fill this thing up, because believe it or not, my people are not necessarily golf people.
Okay.
But even if you're not a golf person, I'm not a golf person, this will give you a reason to care about it on Sunday.
Sure.
This will give you a reason to have some amount of interest. The way this is going to go, we have taken the odds. I pulled them from FanDuel, and I have ranked them from 1 to 80. So the last 9 guys, if one of the last 9 guys in the field wins, if somehow Jose Maria Olazabal, I understand that, but if in the bizarro world where one of those guys wins, then $400 is going to the Keybridge Fund. That's the way it's going to go.
You left those guys out. Who were the 9 you left out?
The bottom 9 would be Christo Lamprecht.
Okay.
Neil Shipley.
Can't win.
Stuart Hagestad.
Probably can't win, but it'll be a hell of a story.
Camilo Villegas.
Will be a hell of a story.
Can't win.
Freddie Couples. Actually, the funny thing is they're actually tied. Danny Willett is in the field. It's just the way that all the plus 100,000 guys are ranked.
Willett is a funny guy, like, because he won.
Right. And not that long ago. Not like, not like when VJ Singh won. Right. VJ Singh is
Lamprecht is an interesting. What are his odds?
Plus 100,000.
Lamprecht is an interesting guy.
You want him?
Well, I'm just saying.
Pay you $20.
He's a South African. South Africans have played that golf course very well. He kills it off the tee. He's going to have a wedge into a lot of the holes. He at some point, one of the majors last year, he had the first round lead and was even, I think, hanging around after 2 rounds. He is not a there are a lot of other guys with less chance than him. So anyway.
All right, well.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying Christo Lamprecht's going to win.
Well, I tell you what.
But I'm saying he shouldn't be in the bottom 9.
If you get in, if you buy your spot in the field.
Well, give me 3 guys and give me one.
I would give you the right to take your 4th guy and say, I don't want that guy. I want Christo Lamprecht instead. I would give you that right to make that call, right? But you gotta pay your way in. You did. Yeah, Drew got into the bracket contest. Good guy, Drew Forrester.
Yeah,
so.
I was gone up to the first week.
Yeah, how'd that go for you?
Not very good. I didn't even know who was playing. But I know who's in this.
Yeah, Drew felt really silly.
And I know who's winning in this.
Drew actually thought that we were doing a women's bracket, and so he filled the whole thing out, and he had Iowa winning. I was like, Drew, I don't know how to tell you this. They're actually not.
I actually had Iowa State.
Not in the tournament.
In the Final Four.
Oh, well.
I did.
I mean,
my Final Four wasn't crazy.
Yeah, that wasn't
Carolina,
unreasonable.
UConn, Iowa State.
I lost a Final Four team in the first round. I lost a Final Four team in the first round.
I had to.
I had St. Mary's in the Final Four.
What are you, insane?
Clearly.
All right, let's go to the Masters. Let's talk about.
We got to talk to Carlos Collazo. Then we'll talk about the Masters. But here's the way this is going to work. I need you to get in. Glenn Clark on Venmo. Glenn Clark 180 on PayPal. Cash App Glenn Clark Radio. Send me $20. Send me $20. Half of the money will go to the Keybridge Fund, which is not just. It's in part to lift up the families of the victims of the collapse of the Key Bridge, but it's also in part to lift up those who have been economically impacted by the collapse of the Key Bridge. So those that, work at the port, those that are businesses that have been hindered significantly by the loss of the bridge. That's what the Key Bridge Fund was set up to take care of. The Orioles and the Ravens, they got together, they gave $10 million. That's wonderful. We're not going to be able to match that. But every penny counts, so we're going to do $200 to the winner, $200 to the Key Bridge Fund. All right? So get in. If you still have questions, just hit me up on Twitter at Glenn Clark Radio. You will get 4 golfers. The way it's going to go, and I got to go back in retro order the people that gave me the money first. You're going to give me a number, between 1 and 20. And you will get that the first golfer you get will be ranked in order of the odds from FanDuel. If you give me the number 15, you'll get the number 15 golfer. But then your next golfer will be directly correlated. So you'll end up with number 26, I guess is how that would work. And then the same way through. It will be even throughout the field. You will get those 4 golfers. It's very simple. If one of your golfers wins, you win the pot. We're not doing a combined score. We're not doing – it's just –
All right, there's my 200 I just sent to you.
You didn't need to send 200. You only needed to send 20.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, just send me that 180 back.
Okay, I'll send the 180 back. I tell you what, Drew. I'll let you have first choice. I'll go out of order. Nick Kelly will understand. Nick Kelly was the first to get their money in, but he'll understand. I'll let you have the first, just to play the exercise before we talk to Carlos Collazo.
I pick 4 players?
No. You pick a number between 1 and 20.
Oh.
And you will get 4 golfers.
Oh. Well, you already know what the number is.
What number do you want?
7.
You want, to honor Jackson Holliday. That's the number that you want.
Or Kyle Bowler.
Yeah.
Or Kyle Bowler. Your first golfer will be Jordan Spieth. That will be your first golfer in this field. How do you feel about Jordan Spieth?
I mean, he could win. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think he's going to win. He could win.
Your second golfer in the field will be Adam Scott, number 34 in the field.
Probably can't win. Has won before and has actually played the golf course well. Can't win.
Your next golfer in the field is Justin Rose, number 47.
So he is interesting. I always feel like a guy that loses in a playoff someday is going to get I always thought this about Oosthuizen. He's always going to get the golf gods are always going to reward him. I don't mind the Justin Rose pick.
He's not past the point at which he can be.
No, not at all.
How old is Justin Rose?
46, 44.
Okay, I mean
44.
All right, fair enough.
He doesn't hit it very far, but you don't have to hit it far at this golf course.
Okay, so Justin Rose. By the way, remarkable that you got 3 guys that I think are legitimate golfers so far in this.
Yeah.
Like all guys.
I don't think any of those 3 are going to win, but Spieth could sniff around.
I mean,
he's just too wild.
What happened to him?
His golf swing was never great, and it just didn't hold up over time. It didn't hold up because he tried to hit the ball too far.
Your 4th golfer, again, and I'm giving you the option because I have never heard of this person.
Okay.
Ryo Hisitsuni.
I'll take him.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
You're excited about this?
Yes.
Okay.
He could be your first-round leader, by the way.
Well, that's not going to help you. You need him to win.
Anybody looking to wager on the sport, he could be a surprise first-round leader.
So those are your 4 golfers.
I'll take those 4.
You've got those 4. If one
Anybody
of them
wants to trade,
if one of them wins,
tweet me.
You get $200, and again, the other $200 will go to the Key Bridge Fund.
All right. Well, there's a better way to do this, but it's your contest. Go ahead.
Enough out of you. Joining us now here on GCR as we get ready for Jackson Holliday to make his Major League debut. Let's find out a little bit. Yeah, I don't know if you heard.
Jackson Holliday's
They called him
coming
up. They called him up. This man, of course, knows a thing or two about prospects from Baseball America. We welcome back into the program Carlos Collazo, who's with us now here on GCR. Carlos, it's Glenn and Drew in Baltimore, the center of the baseball universe. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Move over, golf world. We got Jackson Holliday coming up.
I can't believe I'm already aggravated that the Orioles would do this on Masters weekend. I'm personally offended.
How dare they? How dare they? Drew brought it up earlier, and we don't remember who we were talking to before the season that made the comp to Francisco Lindor, but we were talking to Tim Kurkjian earlier, and Tim Kurkjian's like, yeah, that's possible, but I think he might be better, which sounds crazy to talk about when we're talking about Francisco Lindor. How good do you believe Jackson Holliday can be, and how quickly do you think he can be that good?
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. I mean, we do have Jackson Holliday as the number 1 prospect in baseball. So if there's any prospect that has the potential to be one of the very best in the big leagues, you would assume it's the top prospect. But it's funny with the Orioles, we've got 2 guys who can claim that, Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman. Like, will Jackson Holliday even be the best player on his own team? They've got such a loaded, young, elite hitting lineup there that in itself will be an interesting question. I think the Lindor comp, they're slightly different players. I mean, Lindor, if you go by Fangraphs WAR, has been a top 5 player in baseball over the last decade. The Orioles will be absolutely thrilled if Jackson Holliday is able to do that. I think he will get to his value in slightly different ways. Obviously, there's a chance he's going to be playing second base for the long run. I think if he is playing that position, he's got a chance to be one of the best second basemen, if not the best second baseman in baseball. I think an interesting comp to him, though, is actually Evan Carter, who is the Rangers' young stud. Just in terms of elite swing decisions, left-handed hitter, he's going to walk a ton. But I think maybe the separator for Jackson Holliday is the fact that he's an infielder. And I also think if you just look at him physically, and I've said this for several years now, I think Jackson Holliday still has a chance to grow into a lot more power. He hasn't fully gotten into that. He's going to be 20 years old, the youngest player in the American League, second youngest player in the big leagues when he gets brought up. But he still looks like he's got quite a bit of strength to add on. So if he can layer more power, do what we believe is an elite hit tool and elite batting eye, it's a pretty well-rounded and explosive offensive player.
When's the last obviously there is one every year at some point, but when's the last guy that came up like this with this much fanfare? And I guess
the pedigree is a part of it.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. That it's a little bit. It feels to us a little bit like Tiger and LeBron. Like these guys just could not miss, and they didn't miss. When is the last can't miss guy that came up like him?
In terms of how quickly he's come up, and just the expectations for him being the number one all pick, being BA High School Player of the Year, being the minor league Player of the Year, he really does check a lot of boxes that I'm not sure is super common. I mean, guys like Bobby Witt Jr., Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, when they came up, I think they were in a similar tier of talent as Jackson Holliday, but just how rapidly he did it. Like Bobby Witt Jr. was older for his high school class. He didn't fly through the minors quite as quickly. I mean, maybe Jackson Churio this year with the Brewers, with how quickly he came up, but as an international player who was less highly touted when he entered affiliated ball, that's also different. So I don't have like an obvious name to point to. I do think he is a bit of an outlier in just how rapidly he has done it as a number one overall pick. But I don't think Jackson is like outside of that sort of talent of those kind of players we're talking about. I expect him to be right in that conversation with those names.
What does maybe like what in that, if concern might be the wrong word, what are you still most interested? You know, you bring up second base, right? Where by the way, yesterday he made that absurd play ranging to his right and throwing from his knees. But what are you most interested in monitoring? I think, you know, we referenced the power, like how quickly does that come along? What are the most interesting things that you want to follow this season, and how quickly he's able to adjust to the major league level?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess the first thing, and this is probably true for most hitters regardless of their quality or their expectations, is how quickly does he adjust to the big leagues? I mean, we have high expectations for what he's going to do offensively. He seems like the sort of player profile who would adjust quickly because he does make elite swing decisions. He doesn't expand the zone too frequently. He has the ability to hit to all fields. I expect that sort of skill set to lend itself to a quick adjustment to big league pitching when you compound that with the fact that he's just been around the big league game for such a long time. I mean, he literally grew up in it. He really does strike me as a player who no one should be surprised if he adjusts quickly. At the same time, every player is different. If he starts off slow, again, you have to remember he's going to be a 20-year-old in the big league. So one, how quickly does he adjust to big league pitching? How quickly does he start looking like Jackson Holliday, the hitter we've come to know? And then two, I think the power is the most intriguing thing for me. Like, how quickly is he going to hit for power? I don't think he's going to be a player in this lineup who needs to sell out for power. That's not the sort of hitter he really ever needs to be. But he is a player who's willing to use the opposite field, to hit the ball on the ground a lot. When does the power sort of surface and showcase? I wouldn't expect him to be a player like Gunnar Henderson, who's able to hit 25-plus homers in his first full season. That would be maybe a bit surprising just given how he operates at the plate. But just how does the power look with wood bat at the big league level? What are the exit velocities looking like? Because I do think he is such a good hitter, good pure hitter, that I think maybe his power potential is slept on a little bit. But again, I've always been pretty bullish on where that's going to be in his peak seasons.
How does growing up, this is kind of an abstract question, but how does growing up in the major league family help him right now? I'm not talking about like in his totality of his career, but 6 years ago he wasn't even starting high school yet. Like how does hanging around his dad, and we saw all the clips yesterday, the funny clips of him when he was 8 hitting baseballs and throwing baseballs and saying, I want to be an all-star someday. How does that help him?
Yeah, I think everything that's off the field, he's well aware of. He's not going to be surprised by the business of the game, by just the environment, the fanfare. Like he's very familiar with this. I think being able to just talk to your dad, a guy that you have a relationship with, a very tight relationship, and ask him questions that prospects who are coming up without that sort of link in their family just don't have. You don't have the ability to kind of figure out what it's going to be like before you get there. You kind of have to show up to the big leagues, and then you figure it out when you're there. I think Jackson very much understands the process. He understands everything around the big leagues and the expectations that are not on the field. Like all the players know what to do when you get on the field and when things happen. But I think even speaking back to his high school days, like we have always heard very impressive things about just how he carries himself, how he handles failure, how he works off the field, just the classic baseball IQ items that I think are really valuable and maybe hard to quantify. He's always had that because he's been around his dad, because he's grown up around the game. So I don't think this moment will faze him. I think this is something that he's obviously been preparing for a long time, and the expectations for him, for himself probably, or maybe to even be in the big leagues sooner than this. So I think he's ready. I don't really think there's anything that's going to pop up now that'll really surprise him or faze him.
Carlos Collazo, Baseball America, with us here on GCR. Carlos, so now, Jackson Holliday's here, and the Orioles sort of have this situation that's in front of them where they have a bunch of veterans that are going to be free agents within the next 2 years, some who are off to slow starts to the season. They still have more guys who are absolutely mashing at AAA and are frankly Major League Baseball players. Maybe we would say Coby Mayo might be ready, but probably it doesn't demand that he be here. And it feels like they've got to start making other decisions about who's really a part of this and who is ammunition to go sort of finish constructing the roster to try to win a World Series. Of those guys that are banging on the door, or, like in Heston Kjerstad's case, he's already been here. He just doesn't have anywhere to play. How would you separate that group of who definitively should still be a part of this moving forward and who it might be time to think about, this is a guy that you're moving at the deadline in order to get the other piece that you need?
Yeah, that will be a really fascinating question to get the answer to, because I think there are a number of different ways they could go. Obviously, it's a good problem to have when you have too many good hitters compared to lineup spots. Just on our hot sheet this week, I think half the Norfolk lineup was top 5 or top 6 on our hot sheet, where we're looking at the best performers in minor league baseball. I'm really excited about Heston Kjerstad offensively. Cal Stowers has also gone off. You got guys like Connor Norby. You got guys like Colton Cowser, who's already at the big league level, and I don't even know if he's getting enough playing time. So separating out the guys you need to keep and the guys you need to trade is going to be a really tricky decision for the Orioles. It might just depend on who's available in the trade. Will they be able to move a couple of these bats and add another pitcher? You might not be able to get the sort of impact you got already with a guy like Corbin Burns, but that would be a trade I'd be really interested in making. It's really hard to get elite difference-making arms on the mound, and you should be in a position where you're trading from an area of strength. I mean, maybe some of these younger guys are more appealing in trade value, but there's also just some of the certainty or at least less risk that you have if you're trading some of these veterans. I mean, I don't think any of these big three, and I think of those guys as Adley Rutschman, Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holliday, those guys aren't going anywhere. They're not going to be traded. That wouldn't make any sense to me. But, really, if the right trade is available, why wouldn't a guy like Heston Kjerstad be available in the trade? I mean, if you can't get him in the big leagues right now and he's clearly ready, I would view it in some way similar to the Dodgers trading Michael Busch this offseason. He's a guy who was older. He'd been at the minor league levels, at the AA, AAA level, and more than proved himself. And the Dodgers moved him because he was blocked, and they got a few interesting prospects. So I think the Orioles might be more interested in adding big league pieces to help them contend now. But if it's a case where you trade some of these upper level depth pieces and maybe restock the lower sections of the minors, I don't think that would necessarily be terrible either. But it'll be interesting. I think the elite teams separate themselves by knowing which players in their own organization they need to keep and which ones they need to move on from. And we'll see how the Orioles handle that. I don't think there's an obvious answer. It mostly depends on what the market's going to be like as we get closer towards trade deadline this year.
Can I where is Coby Mayo in this process? How I say maybe he could still use a little bit more, but my God, he's absolutely mashing. And I don't think that anybody truly believes that he's going to be good enough defensively to settle in at third base
how far away is he from being legitimate middle-of-the-order major league bat as either a first baseman or a DH?
I mean, he's not too far off that right now. He hits the ball hard. I mean, he's dominating. I really have a lot of confidence in the improvements he's made offensively. I'm with you. I mean, we have some people here at BA who are more bullish on him making the improvements to stick at third base. It's exciting to think of him playing third base, given that arm strength that he has. But I would like to see him more in a corner outfield spot. If he can play left or right, I think that adds some more versatility. And then if you need to put him in the DH spot, you can. So I think in terms of big league readiness offensively, he's right there in the mix with guys like Kerstad and Stowers. Like if they were on another team, it wouldn't be surprising if he was up already.
What a world we're living in, Carlos.
By the way, he's playing Friday night because they just announced they're giving away 15,000 T-shirts.
Okay, so yes, obviously Jackson Holliday is playing against lefty DL Hall on Friday night.
They're not giving 15,000 shirts away and then not having him
sitting on the bench. Yeah, that's not.
If you promote Jackson Holliday and you don't play him against lefties, I don't really understand the point. They're not going to.
Right.
Yeah, that would
make any sense.
That's the reality. Carlos, it really, you got to understand, we're still struggling with like, is this real factor of all of this? Like, are we living in a fantasy world where like we joke about being the center of the baseball universe, but it really does feel that way at this point. Like it is a strange feeling for us in Baltimore. That like this is real, and you have every reason to believe that you're really going to be this good.
I think you just broke up on me.
Oh, sorry, you there? We got you, Carlos.
Yeah, I got you back.
Okay. It's all right. We'll wind things down anyway. Carlos, what all can we plug for you, man?
Just say Baseball America in general is where you can find my work. Me and Ben Badler also do the Future Projection podcast. We're probably going to record today and talk more Jackson Holliday. So if you're an Orioles fan and you just can't get enough Jackson Holliday talk, then check that out. But in general, baseballamerica.com. You can find all of our work, draft stuff, find out about Ethan Holliday, who's in the draft class for 2025. So he's next up. I'm not sure if Baltimore will have a chance to get him. He's looking like he might go pretty early, but another Holliday coming on.
There are people that have said they think that he might even be better than Jackson, which that better not be the case.
It's fair to say that Ethan Holliday at this stage in his high school career is further along than where Jackson was.
Bonkers.
Jackson had a pretty loud jump up the board his spring senior year, and Ethan is just a different player. He's a lot more physical. He looks more like his dad. He might not be a shortstop or a middle infielder, but yeah, they're both quite good.
At Carlos A. Collazo is how you follow him on Twitter. Carlos, thank you for taking the time for us this morning, man. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Congrats. I hope you guys have fun with it.
No doubt, man. That's Carlos Collazo with us here on GCR. Appreciate him taking the time. Drew, a bit distracted by the print issue of Press Box, which is still available for free.
From like February.
It's available for like 3 more days, and then it's gone. Next week, there will be a new print issue of Press Box on the stand, so get this one before it's gone.
One?
This was the most recent one.
Oh, this is February.
Yeah, we do it every 2 months.
Oh, I thought you did
new print issue every 2 months.
Oh, take it easy.
Take it easy. Like I was
Stop yelling at me.
Like I was putting clamps on your nipples and electrocuting you.
Like Chris Farley
in the Japanese game
show.
Right. Hashimoto. I don't remember what he said. It's right. Mata.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, Mati.
Yeah. God. Please
I don't understand
help.
English. I don't understand Japanese.
The print issue is still available for free, and then it will be gone. All right, we'll break down a couple other people who got their golfers, and I'll let Griffin have a chance to pick his numbers. Aaron got the number 4. So, Drew, he gets Xander Schauffele as well as, Byung-Hun An. Wasn't he the closer for the Diamondbacks? Tom Kim and Zach Johnson. What do you make of his team?
I like Tom Kim's chances. I would say the only thing that's hurting him a little bit, he has not putted well. Who was his first one?
His first one was Schauffele.
Well, I honestly think he's going to win if Scheffler doesn't win.
How about that?
If Scheffler doesn't win, I think Schauffele is going to win.
Okay, Schauffele. I'll work on that. I'll work on it during the course.
Do I get a number? Or?
Yes, I'm going to let you pick 2 numbers. In fact, 2 numbers for you and for with PFF Sean.
I want 1.
Oh, so you're just going to go ahead and claim Scotty Scheffler?
I mean,
that's the way
why
it's going to
wouldn't
go. All right, Griffin gets Scotty Scheffler.
PFF Sean was too.
Chill. You get Scotty Scheffler.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, everybody else.
You also get Denny McCarthy.
Ooh.
How about that?
Big guy Denny.
Local guy. Oh, how about this?
Where's Denny McCarthy from?
You also get
Argyle, Silver Spring.
Oh,
You also get
sweet. Go Denny.
Tiger Woods.
Yes. I got the best group.
Well,
And you get he's not
you
winning.
don't have
the
anybody
Masters.
there.
Yeah, he's not winning.
What are you talking
And
about?
you get
It's Tiger Woods.
Jasper Stubbs.
0. You got Schauffele. Oh no, you got
No,
Scheffler.
he got Scheffler.
Scheffler's going to win.
Well,
Okay.
there you go.
All right, cool.
He is going to win. I mean,
Sweet.
it's been a long time since.
I'm realizing I shouldn't have let you pick your own numbers. That's my fault. That's my fault. Whatever. It's what it is.
Well,
You got in
yeah,
quick.
but
Sean gets Rory.
Okay.
He could win. I mean, I kind of feel
Washed.
like he's going to win when everyone says he can't win, which could be 3 years from now. He could win though.
He gets Sung Jae Im.
Definitely could win.
Okay, there you go, PFF.
He gets Chris Kirk.
Very
Charlie Kirk?
underrated. I don't think he could win the Masters, but he is an underrated guy. If you're looking for an off the radar screen kind of top 10ish dude that could pay out a nice piece for you for a top 10, Chris Kirk's not a bad pick.
And he also gets Danny Willett.
Yeah, he's got who's his first guy?
He's
Rory.
got Rory.
Oh, yeah, well, that's good.
Paul from Ovilando. He gets numbers. He gets number 6. So he gets Brooks Koepka.
Definitely could win.
He gets. What happened to like is he still? I don't know what he's doing because I don't know. I don't follow the other thing.
He's played okay.
Okay.
He
I say
just
that-
went over
I
there
say
for
that-
the.
I say like I follow the PGA.
He just
Tour.
went
I
over
don't
there
do
for
that
the
anymore.
money. I mean, he doesn't. Brooks Koepka doesn't really care if he wins any of these tournaments. He wants to win the majors.
Paul gets Akshay Bhatia.
Well, he had a great week last week. Terrific ball striker. A little bit of unorthodox putter, but nice player. I wouldn't. It's. You play good golf for 3 weeks in a row. Wouldn't be surprised to see him play well again this week.
Paul gets Steven Yeager.
Steven Yeager. He's an interesting guy. He has had a really, really nice year. He just won a couple of weeks ago. He's German. Germans have played the golf course very well. Langer, Keimer. I would be interested to see what some of his numbers are wagering-wise. Might not be a bad bet. Negative for him is it's his first time.
Steven Yeager, by the way, is plus 17,000 to win the tournament. And he gets Lee Hodges.
Yeah, he can't win.
All right. Paul also, he claimed 2 spots. I think one of is for his son, Eric, so he'll get number 15.
Okay.
And that team is Wyndham Clark.
Definitely could win. He shouldn't be 15. Holy cow, he could definitely win.
All right. He gets, sorry, I'm trying to do this all at once. He gets Tyrell Hatton.
Can't win.
Okay. He gets number 55, Thorbjorn Olsen.
Can't win. Good player, though.
I do love the
Can't.
way that the dismissive nature. You're just like, it's just,
he's not winning.
sorry. He just can't.
He's
It's-
just not
only
winning.
It's
one winner.
it's
I mean,
what it is. He just
Smiley Kaufman had a lead once on Sunday. He wasn't
that
going to win
going
either.
for him. And he also gets Adam Schenk.
He can't win, but he is a nice player. I keep thinking, and I keep going back every week with Denny and Schenk. Every week they're in an event. I put $10 on them every week.
Sorry, I gave him the wrong one. He doesn't get. No, I got that right. I got it
Okay.
right. Sorry.
Adam Schenk's not a bad player.
All right.
Can't win, but not a bad player.
All right. Very good. Sorry, I got to give
What
somebody
do you think
else.
of Oberg? I got it. It's both the finished top 20. Oberg and Wyndham Clark. They both finished top 20 plus 260.
If they both finish top 20,
Yeah.
you get plus 260. That's not bad. I think I love
would ruin
Oberg's
it?
chances. I
Okay.
think both those guys could be in the top 10.
All right. Nick Kelly gets number 11.
Okay.
So Nick Kelly gets Victor Hovland.
Could win. I got him on number 9 on my list. Problem is he's going through a swing change again. He's not a great chipper of the ball. You got to have a good short game there. I'm a little dismayed by the swing changes he's made because he's coming off a great year. I don't know why he did that, but he he knows better than I.
I already know how you feel about this guy. Max Homa is his next.
I don't think this is the stage for him. I could be wrong, but he's a nice player. I just don't think this is the stage for Max Homa.
Adrian Moronk.
Good player, European guy. Not a lot of people know about him. Again, not going to win, but he's a guy to kind of watch over there. He's not a bad player.
And two-time champion Bubba Watson.
Well, as crazy as this sounds, he could sniff around. The golf course is absolutely perfectly built for him, which is why he won twice. And if he putts decent, he could be a threat. I would not dismiss him.
All right, very
Sounds
good.
crazy. I wouldn't dismiss Phil, by the way.
Well, nobody's gotten him yet.
I honestly would not dismiss Phil. In fact, I mentioned Phil today at Drew's Morning Dish. Like, you could do a lot more dumb things with your money than put $100 on Phil Mickelson.
Okay. Continue to get in. I need you to hit me up on Venmo at Glenn-Clark. On PayPal, GlennClark180. As you do, we'll get you a number. We still have spots available. We need 20 people total. We're getting up towards halfway, but you will get 4 golfers, and if your golfer wins, you get $200, and the other $200 in the pot goes to the Key Bridge Fund. So continue to get in. If you're confused or if you need some other app in order to send me the money, just hit me up on Twitter at Glenn Clark Radio. When we come back in, we will play Would You Rather Wednesday. We will. Do you have a That's What's Wrong with This Country for this week?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, very good. We'll do
Would
You Rather Wednesday.
100%.
We'll do That's What's Wrong with This
I'm
Country.
glad you brought that up.
We're still going to talk to Bob Harig before the day is over, so still a lot more to do.
Well, I'll talk to Bob. You don't know what you're talking about.
Drew's here. He's not wrong. Drew's here. Unlike every other guest that we have on the show where Drew doesn't know what he's talking about.
That's correct.
Drew's here.
You gotta. Here's one of the things that's wrong with our country is we're afraid to say, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
I have no idea.
Men are afraid to say that.
I don't know. If you ask me about Adrian Moronk, I have no idea what I'm talking
that's
about.
good for you.
No
I like
clue.
the fact that you
talking out of my ass.
Right.
That's the way that it goes. And I won't do that. So I'm not going to attempt to tell you anything about Adrian Moronk or, frankly, anyone else in this field. I won't attempt
Well,
to do
you
that.
know enough about Scheffler.
Enough, yes.
Yeah.
Enough. I know enough.
Where did he go to school?
I actually don't know that. Where did Scotty Scheffler go to school? Oh, I did know that. Never mind. My fault. Fault. So did Spieth, right?
Correct.
Yeah, Spieth also went to you can't do that, though.
Oh.
You can't do that.
If you do that,
you're
in big trouble. Everybody was mad the other night because Danny Hurley went out on the court and yelled at Zach Edey.
Jesus.
Everybody was all upset. Coach can't talk to the players like that.
Imagine. All right, all that coming up. Drew's here. Glenn Clark Radio.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hungry? With 7 locations throughout Maryland, Glory Days Grill is always right around the corner. They have wings, burgers, salads, sandwiches, and drinks to satisfy everyone, as well as tons of televisions and sound delivered right to your phone. Glory Days is the best place to watch football or whatever your favorite sport is. While you're there, be sure to check out Goose Flight's Lager, named in honor of legendary Raven Tony Goose Siragusa. $2 of every can is donated to the Goose Flights Foundation. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
What company makes your home more energy efficient, purifies your air, kills all viruses, and qualifies you for $6,000 in rebates? A.J. Michaels Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis at ajmichaels.com.
Oh, honey, we better stop for gas soon. Let's pull into that Royal Farms.
Ugh, gas is so expensive.
Nope, it'll be cheaper than you think.
Why's that?
I signed up for Rofo Pay on the Royal Farms app. Now we save 15 cents per gallon at all Royal Farms.
Wow, that'll save us a ton of money. I love you more every day.
Well then, don't get a speeding ticket this trip, okay?
Sign up for Rofo Rewards and upgrade to Rofo Pay and save 15 cents a gallon on gas for a limited time. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Jeremy Kahn here. The ultimate sports betting experience in Maryland is at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbook. Join me at either location in Canton or in Towson and place your bets in person and be a part of the action. It's the best in-class sports wagering experience, complete with the ultimate TV package, ensuring you can catch every game all day, every day. Their state-of-the-art facilities bring Las Vegas energy right here to Maryland just in time for postseason football. So visit the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbook in Canton and Towson and elevate your game day experience and hang out with me to bet, watch, and win at the Turtle.
What company has the expertise to make your home healthier by purifying your air and killing all viruses, allergens, and bacteria? A.J. Michaels, Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, back in here on GCR as we continue along on a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of the program. Drew Forrester is here. Apparently that story from TMZ this morning. Terrell Suggs was arrested in Arizona, charged with offenses against public order and a count of assault. Obviously, there's a lot more that I would need to know. I would need to know a lot more before I would react to that in any particular way.
Shocking.
All right, so let's move. On immediately. There's just not enough information there for me to react to it in any sort of way. Unfortunately, got to know a lot more. Hey, you know what I don't need to know more about is Ruth's Chris, because every time I go to Ruth's Chris, the noise
broccoli there is so insanely
by the way, the noise
good.
you just made, every time I'm reminded it's time for me to do a read for Ruth's Chris, is exactly the same guttural noise that I have.
The broccoli is the steaks are awesome, but the broccoli is insane. It's so good.
The zucchini fries are otherworldly.
It's crazy.
Otherworldly. Whether you're celebrating a special milestone, entertaining clients, or simply enjoying a night out, count on Ruth's Chris to deliver to you the finest steaks, the best service, and a level of hospitality that has made them one of the most revered names in steaks since 1965. Make your reservation now, ruthschris.com. And again, it's just as soon as you say the word, you can hear the sizzle.
Yeah, correct.
You can hear and you can smell that steak on the heated plate coming to your table.
I know. It is one good place, man.
It is something else, man. Yeah, ruthschris.com to get your reservation.
Yes, I got a gift certificate or something. All right, let's roll.
I might know a guy that might be able to help you out.
Be nice.
For everything that you add to the program.
I haven't had a raise here in a while.
I tell you what, we will pay you. I haven't. Absolutely at the level of what you've added to the program.
Sunday, by the way?
You are scheduled for Sunday.
3 to 5?
I believe that is correct.
Okay. That's good. I got a show. I got a Masters. I got plenty of golf to talk about.
You'll be on during the final round.
Yeah, that's good.
You'll be
3 to 5?
As the final round is unfolding.
Is that accurate?
By the way, big shout out. I'm double checking that, but
3
yes,
to 5?
I think that's correct.
Think so. That's what I thought.
Big shout out to the Orioles, who made the Jackson Holliday news at 9:14 last night. 3 hours of radio.
When would you like them to do it? Yeah.
3 hours of radio.
I love it.
Announcement came in at 9:40. Thanks, Chief. Thanks, guys.
By the way, until Norfolk's game was over, I guess.
Really appreciate it. 9:14 p.m. They go ahead and make that announcement. That was very helpful. Yes, you are scheduled. Oh, hang on a second. I think you're scheduled 4 to 6 on Sunday. Yeah, you're scheduled. We're on from 12 to 3, and then nothing from 3 to 4, and then you're scheduled for 4 to 6, so that you could go to the conclusion of the Masters, I guess. Was that?
I'm just asking right now. I'll ask the powers that be.
I've got the schedule right in front of me. You are on from 4 to 6 on Sunday.
Okay.
Yep, that's what I got. That's what I got. All right, let's play Would You Rather Wednesday. Would You Rather Wednesday is brought to you by Glory Days Grill. I highly recommend the cauliflower wings.
a lot of places, if you're like me and you enjoy ordering cauliflower wings, you go to a lot of places and you get something that is a snack. It's an appetizer. You go to Glory Days Grill, you order the cauliflower wings, you're getting a meal. They're perfect. And I've told you before, do them with the Korean No. 2 sauce. It's outstanding. Is it healthy at that point? Probably not. I don't care. It's delicious. That's what I want. GloryDaysGrill.com is the website to find out more about their specials at the moment. But somebody today is winning a $25 gift card to Glory Days Grill just for participating in Would You Rather Wednesday.
Nice.
Would you rather, number one? Would you rather? You got to stay with me for these two scenarios. Scenario 1, Jackson Holliday dominates quickly, is Rookie of the Year this year, and an MVP candidate for the next 5 years.
Yes.
But Corbin Burnes is gone after this year.
Oh, yes.
Number 2, Jackson Holliday has a really good rookie season, but then moving forward, he's a solid but not spectacular player, while Corbin Burnes resigns and dominates for the next 4 to 5 years.
The first one. Anybody that says it's the second one's goofy. You take the everyday player every day. Number 1.
I might be goofy.
No, you are goofy.
I might be goofy.
I mean, you're guaranteeing Corbin Burnes is going to be Corbin Burnes.
Dominant.
He's going to go 200 innings and
whatever you think
years.
Dominant is, yes.
I mean, I guess if that's what it is, then I feel like you have to go with that.
Well,
that's
then
just
you
so.
guys both finished in third place.
Well, because but because it's not likely that's that a pitcher's gonna pitch 1,000 innings over 5 years.
It's not likely, but I'm giving you that. He's dominant. I don't understand what part of this you're not getting. I'm giving you that.
Then if you're giving me that, then I think I got to take it.
I don't know why you pay one of these guys that kind of money. They work once every 5 days.
They only work every 5 days. Thank you.
I mean,
Thank
but if
you.
he's going 7 innings and
dominant
one run, 2 hits.
That was one of Pete's classics.
It really was. It really was. R.I.P. Number 2, the Ravens surprisingly use all of their first 5 draft picks on offensive linemen and wide receivers. Or they use all of their first 5 draft picks, so all of their picks in the first through 4th rounds, on edge rushers and cornerbacks.
Oh, boy. Man, go over it one more time. This is a good one.
First 5 picks, all of their picks in the first 4 rounds are on offensive linemen and wide receivers, or all of them are on edge rushers and cornerbacks.
Well, we've seemed to have gotten better at picking wide receivers. It's never been our strength. We've been very good at picking offensive linemen. We've been pretty good at picking cornerbacks and defensive. I'll go with the defensive players.
Okay. Why?
Just because I told you. We've been better overall at picking those spots. Overall. But it's close. I would agree with you. It's close. I mean, we've gotten better at picking wide receivers.
And they've not been as good.
Positionally, we've been the best.
They've not been as good at picking edge rushers recently.
Right.
Like that.
Positionally, we've always been the best for sure.
I don't know that I feel like that would weigh out for me one way or the other.
Okay.
I don't know that I would feel like their history at picking one of those areas would weigh out for me one way or the other. Honestly, like at this point. I don't know. The bloom's kind of off. Like if you said defensive tackles, yeah. You know what I mean? Like by all means, give me those. They're really good at that. They're really good at defensive tackles. Right. They're really good at drafting tight ends.
We've been good at drafting in the trench guys on both sides of the ball.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean that's our forte for sure.
All right.
If we could draft a quarterback, it might be okay.
Get out of here with that. This guy. Go ahead.
I think because we don't have a single edge rusher, I think I'm going to lead towards the defensive side. And
correct.
You'll hit.
It's a man who knows what he's talking about.
A guy that knows what he's talking about. You want to fight with Rob Shields doesn't know. Rob Shields says, go with the first one because O-line and wide receiver is deeper in this draft than edge rush and cornerback are.
Okay.
You're getting a better value of player at those 2 spots. This is a weird one for me because inherently, like I would always, you say default to one or the other. I would always default to like just have the best offense that you can possibly have. Like, put together the best offense you can possibly put together and be good enough defensively to be able to win. Am I confident they're good enough defensively as constructed? The edge rush is the thing, right? Like, the edge rush is the thing you keep coming back to. And could they afford – the way that I would look at it is, could they survive – which one of these areas could they survive with what they have and nothing else? And of the four, I feel like edge rush is the one that I would say they could least survive with this and nothing else. Clearly, they would need to step up and be a lot better in certain areas. Like, some guys would need to be drastically better. It's difficult for me, but I still think I would always default to give me as much offense as you possibly can and get by defensively. Be good enough defensively if the offense works. Okay. And then number 3, I don't know that you care about this even remotely, and I think I know what Griffin's answer is going to be. You might have heard, for reasons, they're doing a Happy Gilmore 2. I don't know why.
I did not hear that.
I have
Carl
no
Weathers
clue.
in there.
No, Carl Weathers up. Well, Chubbs died in the first one,
right.
No, we're not doing that. So not going to be.
Who's in Happy Gilmore 2?
So far, we only know Happy and Shooter involved.
They are?
Yes. Christopher McDonald was the one that confirmed it to begin with.
Oh my God.
That Adam Sandler had reached out and that was working on the script, and then Adam Sandler went on. So, with that in mind,
why would they do this?
Would you rather be hired?
First thing I'd do is grab Kevin James and make sure.
Oh, good. Yeah, get the whole gang together to make it the complete suck fest. So, would you rather be hired as an executive consultant for the project, to have all of the power of control to say, I'm going to try to make this as redeemable a film as I possibly can?
Which is going to be hard.
Or would you rather be a studio executive with the ability to completely pull the plug on the project?
I probably would rather be involved in it because I think it would be a hell of a good time.
Okay, that's a fair argument.
I think it would be a great
but
time.
It's probably going to suck.
Executive consultant sounds like
I don't know
more money too.
I don't know if
I think a studio executive makes a little bit more money.
Studio.
I don't know if it can suck.
Yeah, but this is.
I think
Billy Madison.
I think Sandy and the other dude will make it work.
Yeah. Yeah. What you basing that on? You watch the last couple of decades of Adam Sandler projects.
They got to bring Bob Barker back.
Do you remember what the film was? When the year that we had Sandler on, and all I wanted to do was talk.
Remote controlled TV one, or was
that
it worse
one in
than
comparison was redeemable. It's the worst film in the history of films, which is saying something because he also made Little Nicky.
Go ahead.
The film is called That's My Boy.
Okay.
That's My Boy, co-starring Rex Ryan. So, start there.
I mean, Sandler had to say to himself, like, I'm a reputed actor here.
No, I think he just completely decided that he didn't give a rat's ass about any of that, and this is who he was as a person.
Okay.
That's My Boy built up to a huge, huge story. The big plot twist in That's My Boy was that the woman the kid was going to marry was having an affair with her own brother. The big build in the film That's My Boy was an incest storyline.
It's pretty jarring.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
Don't.
Yeah.
I didn't either, but one night it was on television. I said to myself, I remember. And, like, for what it's worth, Adam, despite the fact that he was the most famous person in the room and, like, had to deal with, like, all the nonsense, was actually pretty cool with us when all we wanted to do was talk about Chris Farley the entire time.
Sure.
We're like, right, this movie that we knew sucked and we had no interest in talking about, but really could we just talk about Chris Farley for the next 10 minutes? He was actually quite cool about it and not a D-bag whatsoever, despite the circumstances. So I said, this thing's on TV. Maybe I'll take a look at whatever it was that we were plugging. And I'm mad at myself for ever allowing there to be promotion of this film that came out of my mouth. Furious about it. It's the worst film I've ever seen in my life.
I love it.
Studio executive. I'm killing this thing.
Okay.
This thing should never see the light of day. May this film never actually happen. May somebody get involved and say, guys, we've had a change of heart. We're not doing this. Just not doing it.
Okay.
It's Would You Rather Wednesday. Continue to get your responses in at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter. Somebody's winning a $25 gift card to Glory Days Grill. Now, Griffin, hit the music.
Don't you see something every day and you say to yourself, this is the problem with this place? Yeah, this is what's wrong with the country. What's wrong with the country is we're not willing to talk about what's wrong with the country.
It is time for That's What's Wrong with This Country. It's brought to you this week by Goose Flights, which is available all over town. Delicious, refreshing Goose Flights lager. And more importantly, it goes to help. This is what's not wrong with the country. It goes to help people in need. As $1.98 from every can sold goes to benefit the Goose Flights Foundation and the work they're doing to provide non-emergency transport for those in need. You can go right now to PressBoxOnline.com/GooseFlights in order to find out more about where Goose Flights Lager is available around town. PressBoxOnline.com/GooseFlights. All right, you said you were ready.
Well, this happened to me yesterday, and it's probably happened to all of us. But it happened to me yesterday, and the outcry over what happened wasn't the actual incident. It was the response from the person. The sign on the sign at the register says express lane, 15 items or less.
Okay.
And this is at the self-checkout.
Okay.
This is not at the one that's manned, for lack of a better term, by a human being.
Human, if you will.
Who has the right to say, excuse me, sir, you have 27 items.
Right. Yeah, this is the express
This
one.
person did it at the self-checkout. So they're self-policing. And a 25-year-old, maybe younger, 25-year-old woman in front of me says to the guy, excuse me, I think you have too many items for that lane. He doesn't even acknowledge her. He just keeps on boop, boop, boop. Now he's 7 items into what is clearly at least 30 items in his cart. She steps into his eyesight and says, excuse me, and he wheels around and says, I can effing count. To which me and another guy and her all said sort of in unison, no, you can't. And he then says, well, I'm already halfway done. She says, I'm going to go find someone.
Oh.
And off she goes.
Did she find somebody?
He keeps on going, doing his thing, doing his thing,
Yeah.
And finally someone walks up to the register and says to him, sir, you're in the wrong lane. And his response is, why are you all ganging up on me? And then the person admonishes him and says, for 15 items only. And the girl, of course, says, we try to tell him that. And he turns around and says, mind your own business. And now we've got a half a fracas going on. By the way, the rest of us all want to I got 6 things in my
you
hand.
just want to get out of there, right? I understand.
When it says 15 items or less, if you have more than 15 items, go in the other self-checkout. There's another one right there. Just go there.
Is it for 15 items or more?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, very good.
Just move 7 feet to your right, and there's another one. But he couldn't do that because that was occupied.
So I got to admit I'm a little torn on this.
Torn?
Yeah. Because you're right.
The sign says 15 items.
Of course you're right. And yes, there is a problem with people that believe that they're the star of the show and that what I'm doing is more important than what everybody else is doing in the whole thing.
But the reaction wasn't more of when the girl said you got too many items, he said, I can count. Instead of saying, you know what? I know I do. My kid's got soccer practice. I got to run. I'm in a little bit of a hurry.
Right.
I'm really sorry.
Right.
I know I have 27 items, but I'm sorry.
Right.
Instead of saying that, which might still not be great, but I would have a little more respect for you than to say I can count.
I don't disagree, but there is a part of me that's like that the mind your business part of this, not for him. He's a D-bag, right? But just what are we doing here? Like, is this worth the fight? Is this worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it over this? And it's the thing that I deal with all the time. Like the number of aggressions that I feel like happen on the road, things like that, where I'm like, is it worth it? The number of times, like I tell you, I'll give you an example. You know what? I'll pull this into that's what's wrong with this country. Mrs. Clark is a serial lay on the horn when you're mad about something.
Oh, my God.
Do you know what your car horn is for? Do you know why there's a horn on your car?
To alert someone.
If there is an
Beep.
imminent danger,
Beep.
your car horn is for letting them know there is an imminent danger. That's why there's a car horn. At some point in the history of this country, the car horn became about, I'm pissed off.
Right.
And I'm going to share
and I don't
with
have any
you
other way to tell you
that I'm pissed off
right.
by laying on my car horn.
Right.
And Mrs. Clark is a serial abuser of that belief.
Okay.
Whenever someone...
So she's what's wrong with the country.
100%.
Right.
I have to acknowledge that.
Right.
In this
she
instance,
has a lot of other good qualities.
Many good qualities. Right. Many of them.
Right.
This one is a problem.
Right.
She believes that her car horn is for, I don't like this. I don't like it, so I'm going to lay into my car horn. There's no danger. Everything's going fine. But I don't like what you did. Now, I also don't like what sometimes people do. Sometimes I think that they're, like, you know, if you're turning right on a red light, I think you cut it a little bit close. Because you're like, hey, I'm allowed to. Right, but you're not supposed to do it if there's a car coming. Like, you're supposed to wait till there's no cars coming.
Right.
Not, I think I can speed up enough in order to justify it. Like, no, you're supposed to wait. But what that isn't is any sort of imminent danger. It's not.
Right.
I don't like it. I think you did the wrong thing. But there is no imminent danger. You are not supposed to lay on your car horn in that moment. That's not what it's for. And the bigger part of it
have to do with 15 items.
The bigger part of it that I tell her constantly is I always say to her, is it worth it?
Is it worth the fight?
Is it worth it?
Yeah, sure.
Whatever, because this is the thing where, like, I'm in the car right now. What if I'm not in the car? And what if that's the day that the guy that you laid your car horn down for
decides he doesn't care if you're a woman.
Decides this is a problem.
Right.
Right? Like, what if
the next person that blows their horn at me, I'm getting out with this gun. Right.
Yeah, because sometimes maybe it is worth it. For example, when there's an imminent danger.
Right.
When there's an imminent danger that they're going to hit you and the kids and cause serious harm, then even if it pisses that person off that you laid into your car horn, it was worth it.
Right, sure.
Because there was an imminent danger. I'm not saying never.
If you're late to get your nails done, that's not imminent danger.
Correct.
Right.
Is there...
Well, that's why I said if the dude would have turned around and said, hey, look, man, I know I got too many items. That line was full. My kids have got to get to soccer practice. I got to pick them up. My wife's in Toledo for work. I probably would say okay. But don't turn around and yell and say, I can count. No, you can't count.
Correct. If you could, we wouldn't be in this situation. I agree. That guy's a D-bag. But at the same time, is it worth it? Would it have been worth it to you or the lady?
I didn't even initiate the argument.
Would it have been worth it if that guy lost his mind and bit your face?
Right.
Would that have been worth it?
Yeah, no.
You know?
Yeah, no.
So that's the part, like, no doubt, that guy's the D-bag. No question. But is it worth it? Is it worth it?
I don't know.
That part of
That's
it
a pretty
stands out to me.
Question.
Right?
Is it all worth it?
Is any you're saying like his life?
Like what are we doing?
Is any of this worth anything?
Like what are we all doing?
Well, you get to watch the Masters this weekend.
Right.
So I would
that's
like to
worth
think that that's worth it.
By the way,
right?
the golf show's now 4 to 6.
I told
every
you that.
Sunday.
Oh, every Sunday
every
moving
Sunday.
forward. Well, how about that? 4 to 6 every Sunday for Fairways and Greens with Drew Forrester on 105.7 The Fan. I got to be honest with you, that's an upset. I thought it was the end.
I did too, but
you actually got double the time.
Yeah.
I thought it was the end.
I'm not so sure how good I feel about that other than I need $1,000.
You got to do a lot more work.
Yeah, right.
You got to do a lot more work.
Yeah, I got to rethink
2
this.
hours 2 hours every week for you.
But in the golf season, there's plenty to talk about in 2 hours.
You say so.
Yeah.
If you say so.
Yeah, in the golf season.
All right. So, yes, Mrs. Clark is what's wrong with the country.
That's what we got,
sure.
too. And the guy at the grocery store. Those are the things that are wrong with this country. When we come back in, Tidbit, Tubular, and Bob Harig joins us to wind down a Would You Rather Wednesday edition of Glenn Clark Radio.
Con this postseason, bet in person at the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks with locations in Canton and in Towson, and enjoy the best in-class sports wagering experience at their state-of-the-art facilities, bringing an unmatched sports betting thrill.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Discover one of Baltimore's hidden gems at Guilford Hall Brewery. Enjoy dinner in our spacious brew pub, sip a signature cocktail in our outdoor dog-friendly beer garden, or take a tour of our brewery. Discover your new favorite local craft beer. From crisp lagers to hoppy ales, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pair your brew with delicious appetizers and entrees. There are options for the whole family, but you have to try our fan-favorite giant pretzel. Guilford Hall Brewery, where every sip is a celebration. Visit us online at guilfordhall.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Oh, honey, we better stop for gas soon. Let's pull into that Royal Farms.
Ugh, gas is so expensive.
Nope, it'll be cheaper than you think.
Why's that?
I signed up for Rofo Pay on the Royal Farms app. Now we save 15 cents per gallon at all Royal Farms.
Wow, that'll save us a ton of money. I love you more every day.
Well, then don't get a speeding ticket this trip, okay?
Sign up for Rofo Rewards and upgrade to Rofo Pay and save 15 cents a gallon on gas for a limited time. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Craving that classic New York deli experience? Look no further than the new Atman's Deli in Baltimore's Harbor Point. Corned beef piled high, hand-rolled bagels, and something different. A bar! Atman's has food and drink specials every day. Now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in, grab takeout, or hang out at the bar for the next O's game. Atman's Deli, an authentic taste of Baltimore tradition since 1915. Find us at Harbor Point or visit atmansdeli.com.
What company has the expertise to make your home healthier by purifying your air and killing all viruses, allergens, and bacteria? A.J. Michaels, Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
Hungry? With 7 locations throughout Maryland, Glory Days Grill is always right around the corner. They have wings, burgers, salads, sandwiches, and drinks to satisfy everyone, as well as tons of televisions and sound delivered right to your phone. Glory Days is the best place to watch football or whatever your favorite sport is. While you're there, be sure to check out Goose Flight's Lager, named in honor of legendary Raven Tony Goose Siragusa. $2 of every can is donated to the Goose Flights Foundation. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
All right, back in here on GCR. And I need you to fill up our Charity Masters pool. Please get me at Glenn Clark or at Glenn-Clark on Venmo, Glenn Clark 180 on PayPal, Glenn Clark Radio on Cash App. Again, you'll get 4 golfers. It's $20 to get in. Winner gets $200. The other $200 goes to the Key Bridge Fund. So get in right now to help us fill up our Charity Masters pool. All right. I was going to say something here. About Drew left, although he'll be back to talk to Bob Harig in a second. So it's a weird. It's hard to explain.
Oh, I was going to conference him in, I guess.
Yeah, no, he's gonna come back. It's weird. You'll see him sitting right there in just a second when we talk to Bob Harig. He just said it's the longest he was willing to go without talking golf. Don't forget that countysports.zone is the place to turn for all of your high school sports coverage this spring. Baseball, softball, boys and girls lacrosse. It's all there. Scores, schedules, rankings, pick 'em. Proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com, countysports.zone. I feel like there was something that we needed to cover that we haven't covered, but
For the life of me, I don't remember what it was. Oh, we never talked about the Ravens pre-draft luncheon because there's nothing to talk about.
I think they're going to draft a corner.
Probably.
Sounds like they might draft a running back.
Sure sounds that way.
And they'll probably draft a few other players.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
there was just nothing there. Sorry. There was nothing. It all seemed very nice. Everybody seemed to enjoy themselves. There is nothing to discuss that came out of the Ravens pre-draft luncheon. So let's go ahead and get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to you today by, it's brought to you by the Green Turtle. Griffin, what's going on at the Green Turtle?
Free free $10 bets every Thursday at the Green Turtle, the Bet Park Sportsbooks now at Towson in Canton. You can use it on whatever you would like over there every Thursday and experience the ultimate destination for game day excitement, great food, and live in-person betting. So go check out the Green Turtle Bet Park Sportsbooks in Towson and Canton and pick up your free bet so that you can make some money while enjoying some sports tomorrow at the Turtle.
Very good. What you got for tidbit?
To start, so this one I kept forgetting to talk about. Of course, Damian Priest is now the world champion in WWE. He's the first Puerto Rican world champion in the last 50 years. Any idea who the other?
Only until Bad Bunny ends up winning
that is a good
the
point.
WWE
That is a good point. I
championship.
can't wait for that day. Any idea who the last Puerto Rican world champion was in WWE?
I don't know who is Puerto Rican. Pedro Morales.
Bingo.
Okay, I didn't know if he was Puerto Rican or not. So
well done. You got it.
Yeah.
Colton Cowser, this comes from MLB Stats. Yesterday, at 24 years old and 20 days, he became the youngest Oriole with 2 doubles and 4 RBI in a game since 1983.
Cal Ripken
Jr. at 23 years old and 10 days. So the youngest player since then. So Colton Cowser doing great things for the O's. Also, Corbin Burns became the first pitcher in Orioles history to go 6+ innings and allow 2 hits or fewer in 2 of his first 3 appearances with the team. Never been done in Orioles history.
I mean, I hear he's good. I don't know what else there is to say.
And I was gonna. I had a Masters one for Drew, but I guess it doesn't really. I guess there's no point now.
You don't think I could get it?
I was gonna
it might
do.
Be a bit tough.
There are. Hold on. There's 8 golfers that have won the Masters 3 times.
8 golfers that have won the Masters 3 times.
Yes.
All right. Well,
so we'll give it a go.
I guess. LT Gray.
Yes, of course, 5 times.
Jack Nicklaus.
Jack Nicklaus the most. 6 times he has won the Masters.
Arnold Palmer.
3rd most times. 4. So you got the top 3. Well done.
I mean,
there's 5 guys that have won it 3 times.
They're basically the easy ones. Phil Mickelson.
Phil Mickelson has won it thrice. 4 for 4.
I don't believe there are any other modern golfers on the list. Like, I think everybody else has just won twice. Like, Bubba Watson has won twice. Like, I don't think
the most recent guy on this list, 1996. He won in 89, 90, and 96. English golfer.
Oh, Nick Faldo.
Nick Faldo. That is correct. Then we have 3 more. Yeah, the other guys won it in the. So 2 of the guys, I don't think you're gonna get there. 2 Americans won it in the 40s.
Gary Player.
Gary Player is one of them. From South Africa, last won it in 1978.
Ben Hogan.
Not Ben Hogan. Ben Hogan's only won it twice.
Bum.
Yeah, for real.
He sucks. And if it's not, Sam Snead.
Sam Snead.
It's just naming famous golfers.
Has won it 3 times.
So
most recently in 1954.
There's somebody else still?
Yes, there's one more. He's won it in 40, 47, and 50.
40, 47, and 50. Bobby Jones.
No, not Bobby Jones. Is Bobby Jones? He's not won it twice.
I mean, the Masters might not have existed when Bobby Jones was playing golf. I don't know.
Jimmy Demaret?
I have never heard of this person.
Jim Demaret. Yeah.
Sure.
Demaret.
Demaret.
Oh.
I don't know. I have
Could be
no
Demaret.
idea.
Could be Demaret.
No clue. I did see floating around. Is that?
Yeah, that works.
Okay,
well done.
Very good.
Very good.
I mean, it's kind of some of the most famous golfers of all time, for what it's worth. It's not all that crazy.
I mean, I probably would have gotten 3. I guess I would have gotten Phil. Maybe I would have gotten 4.
Orioles statistics said with his debut, Jackson Holliday will become just the 35th player in Orioles history to debut at the age of 20 or younger. He'll be just the 6th in the past 42 years to do so. How many of the other 5 could you name? One of them, hopeless.
Manny. No. Was Manny 21?
Manny was... No, he was good. Manny was 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Manny.
Yep.
Was 19. The 2 recent ones I should know. Gosh.
Yeah, 2 of them. That was, there was another one in 2012.
Why can't I remember who debuted in 2012? Was it, Man, why can't I remember who debuted in 2012?
It was pretty stunning add to the bullpen late in the season. Like, no one saw that coming. It was very aggressive. Lot of hopes surrounding this guy. Just never really.
It wasn't Britain. It was
not Britain.
Added to the bullpen. We're excited about this pitcher.
Right at the end of the 2012 season.
Why can't I
put him into
remember
the bullpen. He became a starter.
Was it Bundy?
It was Dylan Bundy.
Okay.
Dylan Bundy at the age of 19.
Wow. It was 19.
In 2005, this was a number 1. This is a very early draft pick that, again, we had extraordinary hopes for, and Dylan Bundy was a Hall of Famer in comparison to this guy.
Oh God, then I'm not gonna get 2005. How long did he play for the team?
Not very long.
Okay, I don't think I'm gonna get him.
2005.
2005. When was he drafted?
I mean, he was like a top 10 pick. I mean, he was
in like 02 or something, or
I
don't think it's gonna help. I'm not gonna get it.
Oh wow, I'm totally wrong about this. He was a 5th round pick. Why did I think he was? I mean, he was a hype prospect then.
Okay.
Why did I think he was an overall? Wait a second.
His minor league.
Maybe I'm confusing. You know who I'm confusing with? I'm confusing him with Bo Hale. That's who I'm confusing him with, because they both flopped. He was with the Orioles for 2 seasons. Later popped up with the Marlins and the Pirates, and was out of baseball by 2010.
Who was he? What was the last team he was with?
The Chiba Latte Marines.
Oh, okay.
In 2010 to 2012. Pirates, the last team he was with in 2010.
I do not know. He was a position player?
No, he was a pitcher.
Oh, he was a pitcher.
Came up, and his first start was electric. I mean, it was at a time we were desperate for something in Baltimore. Like, this dude's first start at the age of 20, like, we were all in on. Hayden Penn in 2005. Yeah, it did not work.
Well, maybe something excited about for in the middle of those long years.
And then this guy definitely was. Let me pull that up. In 1999, this guy debuted at the age of 19, and again, another guy that we were all in on. Like, he was a 3rd round pick in 1997, debuted at the age of 19. Matt Riley was the player.
Matt Riley.
And then an outfielder, Eugene Kingsale, in 1996, debuted at 19 as well.
So hopefully Jackson's more
will
on the...
do a lot more than the guys previously.
Yeah.
He'll be more like the Manny Machado.
Yeah.
That's what you have to hope for with Jackson Holliday. All right, that's
now
tidbit.
It makes more sense why they were waiting as long as they could.
Right, because they wanted to get him out of this range.
Yeah,
no doubt. Let's get Tubular. Tubular is brought to you by Atman's. Atman's Deli in Harbor Point is now open, and it's everything you love about Atman's. But on top of that, they have a sports bar. It's just the best. Go check out the brand new Atman's in Harbor Point. It's got all of the corned beef that you've loved for years, and the breakfast menu with the hand-rolled bagels, the desserts, the soups. It's all right there. They've got a pickle bar, not just with pickles, but like pickled onions and other delicious. It's all wonderful. But on top of that, again, they have a bar with TVs. You can hang out, watch the games at the new Atman's Deli in Harbor Point. atmansdeli.com is the website. Here's what's coming up totally tubular-wise. We are expecting Jackson Holliday's debut tonight at 7 o'clock on MASN as the Orioles take on the Red Sox. Cole Irvin, Cutter Crawford, the pitching matchup. ESPNU, Maryland Johns Hopkins Women's Lacrosse, 6 o'clock. AmericaEast.tv, Maryland baseball playing at UMBC today at 4 o'clock. That's worth going and checking out today. Get over to UMBC this afternoon and check out Maryland UMBC, 4 o'clock.
Mount St. Mary's lacrosse at Canisius, 3 o'clock on ESPN+. Stevenson lacrosse is at Hood tonight at 6:30, hoodathletics.com. Other baseball, 3:45 for Nationals Giants on MASN 2. MLB Network Dodgers Twins at 1. Rays Angels at 4. Marlins Yankees at 7. Locally, that's because the rest of the country is getting Orioles Red Sox tonight on MLB Network. So worth checking that out if you are anywhere else. Athletics Rangers at 10 on MLB Network. ESPN has Mavs Heat at 7:30. They are simulcasting it on ESPN2. Or they're doing, I don't know, maybe some stupid Stephen A. Smith thing on ESPN2. I don't know. Timberwolves Nuggets at 10 o'clock. TNT Golden Knights Oilers at 8:30. CBS for Champions League action this afternoon. Paris Saint-Germain and Barcelona at 3. Paramount Plus Atletico Madrid and Borussia Dortmund at 3. TBS for AEW Dynamite at 8. Who are we kidding? You're watching the Orioles. Non-sports, go ahead and tell me, but again, nobody cares.
Survivor, of course.
Right,
Everyone's,
of course.
well, you should DVR that. Make sure your DVRs
Sure.
are set. Get Survivor on CBS at 8. Abbott Elementary's back at 9 on ABC.
Do love Abbott Elementary.
Bon Jovi will be on John Bon Jovi will be on Jimmy Kimmel.
What's
they
he
have a docu-series coming out on Hulu in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So,
is it about back when they were good, or is it about?
yeah, I think it's just essentially, it's called Thank You, Good Night. And
If it's about anything from the last 20 years, no thank you.
I think it is about, everything.
If it's about everything before that, I'll watch.
New episode of X-Men 97 and The Bad Batch on Disney Plus, and then that's really it. On Netflix, there is a new series called Unlocked: A Jail Experiment, and essentially it's essentially a prison reality show where they give these prisoners essentially more like freedom to just move and walk around the prison.
Sure, what I make of that.
And they just have cameras, and it's essentially like.
But are they actual prisoners, or are they actors that are put into a prison?
You are led to believe that they are actual prisoners, and they're getting like with each other, like Real Housewives.
Okay. No.
But it's in a prison. It's on Netflix.
Oh, sure. Thanks today
Unlocked.
to yes, got it. I hear you. Thanks today to Drew Forrester. Thanks to Tim Kurkjian, to Carlos Collazo, and to Bob Harig, who you're about to hear from. We'll get it all up in the greatest hits section of the
Oh my God, it's so good.
tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Tomorrow.
Stuff and things. Should be a good show. We got plenty to look at. Fighting words, of course. Big fight week. If you haven't heard.
Thanks, everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Live Casino and Hotel, Ruth's Chris, Atman's Deli, AJ Michaels.
I can't wait for tomorrow.
Guilford Hall Brewery, Royal Farms, Costas Inn, Glory Days Grill, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com.
We'll talk about whatever Jackson Holliday does tonight.
Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter,
welcome.
Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Wednesday evening. Go Birds. Go local lacrosse teams tonight. We wrap up today's show by hearing from Bob Harig, longtime golf writer. He's got a new book out about Tiger Woods. We had a chat with him before today's show. But here you go, Masters Week. Great conversation. Oh, and Duke sucks. Well, of course, it is Masters Week, and Drew begged
It's like
and
Holy
said,
Week. It's Easter is the actual Holy Week,
you go.
And then this is the golf Holy Week.
There you go. He said, we need to do more golf talk, and I said, all right, that's fine, because I've been excited to dive into this book and talk more about it with our next guest. He, of course, is SI golf writer, longtime golf writer, and the new author of the book, Drive, The Lasting Legacy of Tiger Woods. He is Bob Harig, and he is with us now here on GCR. Bob, it's Glenn and Drew. It's great to chat with you. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Bob, I want to get this out of the way because it's the question I've been dying to ask you as I was diving into the book. Is in any world the totality of what Tiger Woods, what could have been for Tiger Woods, has that matched or perhaps even surpassed the story of the greatness of what Tiger Woods is?
I don't know if it's surpassed, but it's certainly the question that's going to always linger out there. You're going to always wonder what could have been. Because, I mean, just the last 10 years, he's missed what? He's missed how many majors? 14, 15 majors? I mean, in the last 10 years, there's been 39 majors. We lost one due to COVID in 2020. And he's missed like a third of them. almost something like that. I mean, he didn't play any majors at 16 or 17 when he was at a time where in his career where he was in his early 40s and still incredibly competitive. And obviously, as we saw, in 2019, he could win one. Imagine if he'd have been healthy for the 3 years before that. So it's always going to be out there. We're going to always wonder. Obviously, after the scandal of 2009, 2010, he didn't win again until 2012. Opportunities were missed. He had injuries again in 2011. He missed 2 majors. In 2014, he missed 2 majors because of his first back surgery. I mean, it's like it's a crazy notion to think how many more opportunities he would have had, and maybe given how good he was, clearly you wonder, could he have won a few more?
Bob, first of all, great book. Appreciate you guys sending some of it or sending it along. I read it. It's awesome. I guess I think I know the answer to this, but did you have any dialogue at all with Tiger, or were the quotes that you extracted things that you had just picked up along the way when he was at an event that you were covering, or did you actually have a chance to talk with him?
I did not talk to him directly for the book. That's just not something he's going to do.
Right. Right. Sure.
But it's fair. I mean, I did the Tiger Phil book I did a couple of years ago. It was the same story. I actually, for that book, I reached out to his people to let them know it was coming. It was not even to ask to talk to him because I knew what the answer would be.
Right.
But it was, and they immediately like, well, he can't sit down for a book. He's got the contracts that don't. I'm not asking. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I get it. And so, but like I've asked Tiger questions for things that were in the book, just here or there over the years. Getting to him over the years has always been a challenge, even just for my day job.
Right.
You only get so many cracks at him, and he doesn't do sit down interviews with the print media very often. And yesterday we had him for 24 minutes at the Masters. 24 minutes. It's the first time we've talked to him since Riviera, where he withdrew. I mean, and we needed him for 124 minutes. There's so many questions we have about things going on in the game. So, yeah, it's part of the challenge. But again, I think also a lot of the story centers around talking to other people about him, because you're going to get better answers anyway. They have a better sense of what he's been doing or what he did or what he accomplished. I talked to all of his coaches, his caddies, all those people. And so would have been great to have him. Absolutely. Would have been really nice. But that's just, one of the things that, a lot of book authors don't get their subjects to sit down with them, unfortunately.
Right. And in some ways, I would say it might even almost, for the writer, it might almost even be better because you're not predisposed at all to trying to formulate something in the way that he presents it. We all know the stories. You've been around golf long enough to be able to kind of curate them and write them in such a great way. We all know the stories, right? His dad was kind of crazy. He was an unbelievable amateur. Won right away. Everything fell in his lap. He was the golden shot. Like, we all know the stories. You don't even really need to sit down and talk to him about it because we already know.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say is, I think the book would be better if I had more insight from him.
Right.
And look, there's a lot of insight from him from the various times, whether I talked to him directly or the various news conferences that I was at and, glean stuff from. But, it'd be great if you could sit down and talk to him even for 10 minutes about like the back surgery, the spinal fusion. He's talked about it at various times, but like there were specific questions I'd love to ask. Were you scared? Things like that, like
right.
Things that he's really never talked about that much. And let's be honest, he might not have wanted to. He certainly isn't going to talk about the car crash from 2021.
It's in the police report. It's in the police report.
And as I said in the book, it's really not in the police report.
Right.
I use that quote. He said, it's all in the police report. Well, actually, no, it's not.
Right.
Like they didn't tell us what happened. They don't know. They didn't test him, and that question's always going to linger. But in terms of the book, what I did was that's the story, and now he had to come back from that, no matter how it occurred. And I think it's another kind of example of his drive that he actually came back to play in the Masters 14 months later and made the cut. He shot 71 in the first round. He beat guys. He beat a bunch of guys that day. I mean, it's not a win. It's not going to go in the record book, but I mean, it was a remarkable achievement given what he had been through.
Right.
Granted, what he had been through has a lot of clouds over it.
I guess the one thing I would love to have asked him, and you're going to laugh when I say this because you're going to say, Drew, there's no way he would have never given you the answer. I would love to ask him in hindsight about the various teachers that he used, and do you think longevity-wise, career-wise, success-wise, leaving Butch was a mistake, and do you think turning your game over to Sean Foley was a mistake? Like I know he would never answer it, but I look at those two golf moments in his career. To me, they were kind of seminal moments. He went to Foley to hit the ball straighter. He lost some distance, but he did accomplish that. He did hit it straighter. But I would always argue and say that leaving Butch, even though he did have success after that, I always thought leaving Butch, in hindsight, that was one he'd like to have a mulligan on that one.
Yeah, it's an interesting dilemma. It's an interesting topic because Tiger did win 6 majors and 31 tour events with Hank Haney.
Right.
And at the time, the theory was and the thought was that, if Tiger left Butch because he thought Butch was getting too much attention, that's a really, really bad reason to do it. Like, what do you care?
Right.
Why would you care about that?
Right.
Butch is a famous guy before Tiger.
Right.
He had worked with Greg Norman. His dad won the Masters. He was a well-known teacher. Obviously, Tiger gave him tons of notoriety. And if he got a little bit too big, well, maybe just talk to him about it if that bothers you. So, but there was some technical reasons for maybe moving away from him. Tiger did talk back in those days that the Butch swing put a lot of stress on his left knee. And the Haney swing, if people have criticized it, it was completely different. And it took some of the pressure off of his left knee. But Tiger won with it. I mean, it's hard to argue that he would have done better from 2000 and kind of the 2005 time frame to 2010, 2009 than he did with Hank. Now, was there a lost year or two in there after he left Butch? Sure. Tiger didn't win any majors in 2003 and 2004. It was a little bit lean during that time in terms of victories. Not terribly. He still won a bunch in 03 and 04, but not as much as he had been. And then in 05 it kicked in. He won 2 majors that year. He won 2 majors in 06. He won 1 in 07, and he won 1 in 08. So would he have won more if he'd have stuck with Butch? Maybe. But, it's possible that maybe that the knee problem that he had might have been exasperated. It might have happened sooner.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those wins don't happen. It's really hard to know the answers to that. But the idea that he switched so many times and still was successful really is pretty remarkable.
Right.
Foley was meant to kind of help him through a different period. He liked Foley because he liked what he had done with some players that he knew. Hunter Mahan, Justin Rose. And, the thing for Sean that was really tough was he had to deal with the aftermath of
the accident. The scandal, right.
Right. And there was a mental component there that like no swing teacher is going to get figured out. Right. So, and yet he did win 9 times with him, but because he didn't win a major, people look at that as sort of a fail. But, Tiger was in there a couple of times to win majors during that time, and he just didn't get it done.
Again, the book is Drive, The Lasting Legacy of Tiger Woods. Bob Harig is with us on GCR. Bob, as far as legacy is concerned, I wonder, we still, as you brought up, like you have the time with Tiger Woods is still, despite the fact that he's won 1 major championship in 15 years, he remains the predominant figure and the center of the universe for golf conversation as the Masters gets underway this week. Is that a bad thing for golf? Is it an inevitable thing for golf? Like, would it not, Scottie Scheffler obviously is the best player in the world. Is it the type of thing where it really wouldn't matter what anybody else is doing? Or is it a bad reflection for the sport that here we are, someone who has won so little still dominates this much of our conversation whenever we get to a week like this.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's aspects to it that are concerning, but this has been a concern for 15 years. You know, the idea that you're going to replace him is just, it's folly. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have one person take over. And so if we're hoping for that or wanting that, then that's probably not a very good way to go. I mean, there's a lot of great personalities, a lot of great players, but Tiger is just so unique. And I would point to the fact that, Jack Nicklaus had this sort of aura for years and years after he was competitive. Same with Arnold Palmer. Like Jack Nicklaus used to come into the media room at the Masters into his 60s, and people would write stories about his game. I mean, and so, did that take away from others? Maybe it did. But I sort of feel like Tiger kind of deserves it. He's earned it. And, but to your point, like, does it take away from somebody else, or do we need somebody else to come up? Yeah, unfortunately, we're in a weird time right now too, where like the stars are not like really dominating. We need somebody to, last year at this time, John Rahm won the Masters and they didn't win after that. And now he's playing for Live Golf, and a lot of people don't follow that as close. And we don't, he's not one out there. Scheffler's a great, great player, but until recently, he hadn't won in a year. Now he's won twice, and that's why he's a big favorite coming in. It's just an odd time where there's a lot more parity, and parity doesn't work in golf like it does in the NFL, or in other sports where it gives all of our teams hope because of parity. Like the way things work, you don't feel like you're that far away all the time in the NFL, the way the schedule works, the way the draft works. But in golf needs a kind of somebody to stand out, because you want to see if he's going to keep it going, and you want to see if anybody can take him down. That's why it was always so popular when Tiger was doing what he was doing and Phil was doing what he was doing, and when guys would win a lot. We just haven't had that lately, and I don't think that's great. I think the Masters could really use all the named players to be up on the leaderboard and give us a great shootout on Sunday.
Bob, I guess I've never said this before. I just don't think he can win right this week. I mean, it feels weird to say that. I just don't think he can win. I don't know that he can walk the golf course 4 days. Too many other guys playing well. That would be a heck of a extra chapter, though, if you could add that into the book at some point. But I just don't think he can win this week.
I think it's asking a lot this week. It really is. I mean, he's played 24 holes of official golf this year. Come on, it's just not
right.
It's just not conducive to being competitive. I mean, I think Tiger could have a couple of good rounds, maybe. I think he could do well, but but what's doing well? Making the cut, finishing 20th, possibly, but I just think it's a lot to ask. If he'd have played last month at the Players Championship and had a little bit of success and shown some form, then I think that the expectations would have jumped up here, especially when you've seen him the way he's looked this week. Tiger's actually looked pretty good, but he's only played 9-hole practice rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so like you say that and you go, okay, yeah, but what about 18 holes? What about recovering and doing it the next day? So I agree. I mean, come on, let's to think that he's going to win this week is and he said yesterday, he was sort of asked, what are your expectations? He's like, look, if everything aligns. I think that was a perfect way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
If everything aligns,
sure.
I think I have one more. I mean, everything aligning is he wakes up every day and he never knows what he has from day to day. So he wakes up every day and everything's okay. The weather cooperates to some degree, so he doesn't have to play a lot of holes in one day. That his short game is sharp. I'm sure he thinks it is. I'm sure he's been working on it, but really is it under the gun? That when he misses a shot, which is inevitable, that he's able to get a recovery shot, that he doesn't make some big numbers. These are all things that you would have to deal with even if you were perfectly healthy. So, I think if everything aligns, he certainly could win again. I don't know that he would this week, but I mean, I wonder if he can win again at all. And with the lack of golf that he's playing, he makes it so much harder on himself.
The book is phenomenal, and we're going to link it up on our Twitter account at Glenn Clark Radio. It's Drive, the Lasting Legacy of Tiger Woods. Bob Harig, really, really enjoying it. Thank you for spending some time with us to chat about it. Enjoy the Masters this week, sir.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much.